maybe potentially even on day one, hitting that 60-point plus threshold would be amazing. AGL just south of them in that fishing camp here. A lot of teams in and around and close to Hosan. Tyloo trying to get into that area too. And Vitality trying to lock down Ouyang here. Again, we've had some wild circles, and historically, so far this year, we've had a lot of them very wild on Tego as well.
A lot of hard shifts too, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially towards that water area. But we do have quite the east one here. Southeast, a lot of the teams are already in and close to this area here. Centers up somewhat close to Buksansai here for Petroka Road. That could be a great one for them. 4AM looking poised for this one too. Vitality, all fall strong, not having lost Levante, they star fragger. And they could be having some high priority compounds in this start here from the second game.
So you mentioned the 60-point threshold. What do you mean by that exactly for the people at home that are watching?
Yeah, so of course we have over the course of the 18 games we're playing in the groups, the teams are playing 12, and last year that 60-point threshold was around where we ended up being here. VP is looking to be pulling up onto Rex here. They saw he was a solo in this compound, and they are 2v1ing or 3v1ing this player right now. They're trying to put some pressure onto Rex. Shots coming, headshot with the shotgun, and Lukrix jumps in to take him down. First player out. DN Supers is Rex here, and I love that punishment. They immediately saw it, and they know, knowing of course playing with Beamy here, they know that they usually take too much space around there, trying to take as much away from them from the beginning here and punish that greed that DN Supers have. They have both Go-Dog, they have the south side, a lot of the compounds around this area here. And yeah, Virtus Pro, just from knowing and having played against these guys for so long, they knew they could punish that, and Rex is a great player to lose early on.
Yeah, that's a perfect combination of doing your homework and having that confidence to play as aggressive as possible, knowing how important every single point could be when it comes down to getting that cut line, making it above, and getting into that top 16. As it looks like did see some gunshots coming from Virtus Pro there as well at the end there, so I think Rex may be done for as that blue chip has most likely been destroyed. So Supers will be playing this one forward as 3. And they've got a long way to go to get inside this first zone.
Especially when you look at the circle, like that's the approach. You see, okay, we don't have any high priority going to this next circle here, so we have time to maybe go in and take one big name away from one of our huge opponents in DN Supers. So really love that approach. It's so VP, it's so smart, and you know,
EWC ណាកាលពីមកបាល់ចិនស្អីក៏មានខ្មែរដែរ
fragging their way into this final so far.
មានខ្មែរដែរកាលពីមកបាល់ចិន
On board with R8, also have pretty good priority inside this next circle here. They could take some of these compounds away, but they could be bombing into Petroka Road. And Petroka Road has been looking great so far this year, obviously having the win in our Series 1 finals, the first PGS of this year here. Looked great for them. Good performance out of them so far. Now with a red zone straight onto 4AM, close to Geeklay and close to Vitality too. They'll be creating lots of space here, as Spaceman is also creating some terrain area for him to set up maybe a little bit of a mold destruction if someone drives by.
Yeah, not too surprised to see this, as this has kind of become the story of Tego now that we have destructible terrain, is teams taking these, the top of these hillsides here, digging in little trenches and kind of playing in between, waiting like wolf spiders to eventually spring the trap on anybody that unfortunately gets too close. So we'll see if anybody falls into 4AM's trap as we check back in with Twisted Minds. Big wide 2-2 split here. That's getting a little bit close to Shadow Esports, but looks like they've got eyes.
The 2-2 split is huge, keeping Perfectix and Tab on the northern side. Maybe for information onto VP here, Liquid is driving straight up and close onto VP. I see shots coming out as well. Potentially a big fight here between Liquid and VP. Alo finds Nixie outside Yongchong. That was huge. Okay, look at that. It's a BDM for Twisted Minds. Okay. As Team Liquid took a name away from VP here, trying to backfill that position inside Yongchong. Maybe getting that bridge. I think VP was waiting because they now have a red zone coming in and close to them. Hopefully Perfectix doesn't lose this BDM to a red zone
defendant champion
Twisted Man. He feels pretty bad about that one. It looks like Team Liquid actually sticking around here, or Virtus Pro maybe just repositioning themselves while in the city of Yongchong. Trading shots back and forth. No more knocks coming through, but just yet Supers is also starting to make their way over there as we do check in with the Polar Bears. After losing Nixie, that is another big loss for them, but honestly, anybody on Virtus Pro that gets lost is a big loss. They've all been playing so well together.
4AM
defender
finds
champion.
Songjang here. One of the MVPs out of PWS. One of the GOATs. I remember him back in 2018. He's been here for a long time.
ច្រឡំហើយច្រឡំងារសាអត់មើលឈ្មោះងារសាគេ
PNC as well, just
សំខាន់អ្នកលេងហ្គេមគេគ្រាន់តែមើលគេដឹងអាណា mobile អាណា PC បាត់ហើយ
And now he's here back with his team. They dominated the regional. And now he's here back to dominate once again. But yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate for him being involved this early here. Shen getting that kill. Malaysian superstar on these Chinese teams here.
I think EJ might have been going for the... Yeah, I think EJ is trying to go for the chip here. I'm not sure if he was able to get it yet or not, but definitely seems to be the plan. See if we can maybe get Songjang back. And he might be able to get it because it's really only Shen that's over here defending. The rest of 4AM already kind of making their way in. Remember, at the top of that hillside, kind of entrenched here as we check back in with Liquid. Virtus Pro still keeping tabs on them as they make their way through, but you can see Liquid, it looks like they've managed to avoid the barricade for the most part, and they've made it to the bridge.
Yeah, they're going to be going over the shipyard bridge now. And look how close it is. Yeah. Super's also getting close and involved here with VP. Multiple teams. Beamy now trying to go for this one here. Deal with a nade in hand. It's going straight for Beamy. No damage just connected just yet. But Beamy saw where the nade come from. So he could potentially seem just a little bit. That's a great nade. Gonna do some damage onto him. Doesn't knock him though. But let's see what VP and Dean Super's getting involved just again. And now it's going to be a fair 3v3 since Liquid took one of the names away from VP.
Indeed. And yeah, this is a human going to find Beamy. Through the smoke, will take down one player, but Virtus Pro not in really a position to save him either. So yeah, he's going to get run over, and now Corexi and Lucarux just left to try to send it across that bridge, but Super's already back in vehicles. Looks like they might be going for the chase.
Makes sense here. Down to a 2-man now for VP, and that's what you get when you involve yourself early on with some fights here. Dean Super's looking for an insta retaliation towards them, but it was Liquid to take the name of Human. Some good driving here.
I don't think that's supposed to do that.
He's waiting for his teammate. Oh, Twisted Minds, this next circle here, pre-driving towards the send-up, being ready for any potential send-up. And it goes north here. Look at all the teams that's going to have to make moves here. Just 4 or 5 teams inside this current circle. Team Liquid is going to be surprised with the amount of space that's open ahead of them. Look at all the priority compounds involved inside.
Yet another hard shift once again, and again, it's going to favor Team Liquid this time as they make their way in on that north side. As you mentioned, just nothing but miles of space, and they also know that they can expect Virtus Pro or Supers coming in from that northern side. So knowing that the potential threats that will be coming in from the north side are also pretty good when you're kind of playing from that edge. We check in with Shadow Esports getting a little bit close to Twisted, but it looks like they'll avoid them for the most part. Yeah, after hearing those shots, just trying to make your way into a safer spot.
Yeah, trying to sniff out open space, trying to sniff out if there's any compounds available. And right now, sure, there's one of these center spots here, but it's a 2-2 split for Twisted Minds. And, you know, some of their aggressive teams, if they figure that out, they're going to be able to pull that off. But Twisted Minds does look like to be connecting and going towards each other. Look, Liquid is coming in from the northern side, and shots coming in onto full sense as well.
Yeah, lest we forget that Twisted Minds does have that BRDM. We've seen how important those vehicles can be coming to the late game, and Twisted Minds, one of the teams that knows how to play around them very, very effectively. We check in with Petrichor Road on that south side, as you mentioned before, whenever the ship did come through, so many teams on the south trying to find their way in. It looks like, for the most part, they managed to avoid each other for now. Nemesis, really one of the only ones still making their way into Tyloo, very far off to the south. Looks like they're going to wrap around to the west. But overall,
VP ដាច់
spot to play here, although it looks like
GK ដាច់ 1 DNA ដាច់ 1
but it's more just
បាទមានសៀម 3 team គ្នាមានសៀម 3 team ដែរ
With this next circle here and how this pseudo river is on that eastern side here, and not that much space is going to be able to be played until we see that next circle. Liquid being very greedy with the amount of space they're taking, especially this western compound is very breachable.
Slightly less greedy than I think they were planning to do, because they had left Halo up towards that revive station up on the northern side, maybe expecting somebody from Virtus Pro or Supers to try to make a run for it, but they will pull him back. Instead, play that tight 2-2 a little bit closer towards the center.
And especially if you have, you know, top 3 prior compound locked down already in your 4 guys, I'd rather see them play to be for as long as possible, especially with this next circle about to pop here. All the teams are coming in from that southern side. They have nobody except for AGL north of them here. So let's see what happens. Virtus.pro, last 2 players in that emergency pickup here, and it's indeed an emergency for them here. They're going across. They're seeing all the cars that's locked down, and potentially some guys are going to be shooting towards them. Maybe it's just a drop for an open space, or even towards a shack to take some of that central location.
This is going to be rough for him as the circle does pop in. Fortunately for them, it does donut up right towards the center, a little bit favoring west, but I think Virtus.pro maybe not having a good read on how heavy the south side of this zone might be, and maybe they think they might have spotted something along that riverbed that they can play. They're going to drop 2 down, but unfortunately they're right on top of Petrichor Road, and Correxy will find one, but Ming Ming and I-26 going to go down as Vitality is getting involved as well. Corexy will get spotted though, and he will get taken out. Virtus.pro going out in 16th place.
Yeah, from game 1 with 13 kills to last place in this one. Sure, they got a kill, but yeah, it ended up being them getting that retaliation straight onto them here. And Petrichor Road trying to reinforce this position. And on this southern side, oh, look at that. So much space, so much of these open fields being controlled by so many teams. They have each their quadrant locked down already. Melman finds heaven.
Well, having to play these rice fields, these ridges early on, can't feel great, but important a storm here as NS will steal away heaven. That's another one of the Supers players going down. I think that's Guman Deal now left as they'll make their way from the north on that dry riverbed. Liquid already in place. They're getting shot at in the backs and from the side.
EWC
Nemesis is coming in here quickly. We'll see if Supers can survive a little bit longer as they get a little water on their tires.
To get anything just to have just slight pause here in this circle here, but everyone is shooting at them, and in a lobby like this, in a competition like this, everyone just hits their shots even from far away. Lots of pressure being applied. Supers here. Now they found a little space, a few rocks. Down to 6 HP. Luke finds it from Team Liquid.
Luke just fighting Mini right now as they will secure the point as well. And now Deal, the last player left alive for Supers, and he is not in any better position than he was just moments ago as he will retreat back to the rock. I think the shots from Geek and AGAL on that eastern side of the river a little bit too much, but Deal going to push right into the midst of Myth.
And if this next circle does not go north, we're going to have an absolute slaughter in those fields. Look how many teams. It's so congested already. And with Myth holding on to just a little bit of an open space, they're going to be able to pop out and put some pressure on. They already got lots of pickaxes going on here. They're going to be rolling up and putting some pressure on some of these teams that's in the fields, but now let's see, just 10 more seconds, and we're going to see that next circle. We're going to be ending up here. Twisted Mind still aggressive with the space they're controlling too.
Surprising, haven't seen any mortars really come into play yet. Do you maybe hold on to those a little bit longer? Wait for the next circle, maybe.
As you say that, doing it up once again here. Half fields, half a few compounds and space where Myth is, and Myth actually holding on to tons of control. And as you talk about it, mortars are coming in.
It's like Vitality. Going to send a few over, but they're just not finding the mark as the skies have started to light up with these mortars. As soon as that circle pops, big game for Gam to start things off, but now they're down to 1 here as Duckjuice will get flushed out. Gam in a little bit of trouble.
And honestly, around especially the TDM fields and the TDM hill here on the southern side, they have quite the information and control from Full Sense here. They're going to hold out Gam. They're going to be bringing the fight to all the other teams in this fields here. AGL with a big set of that eastern side. Our player here, but beautiful, finds another knock on JJR.
Perfectly placed, as you would expect from our defending champions. R8 down to just Teddy and empty. Southeastern side, but right back into that BRDM. Go. Make sure you collect that point. No stealing that away, as we said before. Every point so precious here as Gam will try to send it right through. You see it on your mini map. Clories and Wong F go right into the teeth of Tai Lu.
He's knocked onto the carburetor and it's, you know, blown up onto him. So that's just going to bleed out and be confirmed later on. Perfectic finds wh-Cheav and gets flushed immediately by Tab. Meanwhile, it's a Mehmet finds the loss.
ស៊ីថ្ងៃ23ខ្មែរយើង
អេទៅបាទ 15th place here.
ពីម៉ៃនឹងខ្លាំងក៏និយាយគ្នា
AGL
នឹងចិន AGL នឹងចិន
confirmation onto
4AM
4 Ingerman being extremely angry and holding on to this location against AGL.
4AM នឹងធីមអីហ៎អូចិនម្លេចិន3ម្លេមួយ 4AM minute AGL នឹងចិនណាគេ
He's going to go down.
AGL នឹងក៏គ្រាន់បានដែរអែមដែរទៅ
Through the smokes, the grenade's going to land. It's going to find him. Great grenade from Hemas. And now 4AM is up against it. On the riverside, will find the spray window. Will finish him off as Hemas just peeks past the smoke.
មាន Far Con ដែរតែ Far Con ដូចជាធ្លាប់លើកទៀនដែរ
survive a little bit longer. But now Nemesis is starting to make their way down here on the riverbank as well. They could get involved in a third party.
That's a great setup for them potentially to be able to third party this fight. Get some points, steal some knocks away. Narshin's taking lots of damage from Nemesis. He's down to 5 HP. And Winda trying to make space and maybe potentially get this confirmation on to him as the rest did come off. He's low, he's going to have to heal, but they are disengaging just a little bit. They're trying to maintain control of those little credits that they've held on to. Oh my god, it's a double nade from Winda.
Beautifully placed, beautifully cooked. The discipline to drop 2 smokes first, and then Winda will find him again. AGL gets wiped, but Winda will go down.
AGL ចុយអញកំសាវា
Shen get that revive. He's already in vehicle, trying to go over there and defend his teammate.
វៀតណាមមាន2 team The Vexer ហើយនឹង Gam Esports ហ្នឹងវៀតណាម
for deal, but Shen
ចុយទៅមិនសា AGL ខ្លាំងណាស់ខ្លាំងមកបាត់
to get some smokes deployed.
វាមិនដែរឡា
Not inside this next
ឥឡូវយើង
circle here that starts moving in 30 seconds.
Team Liquid Liquid ហ្គេមមួយមិនល្អ
Esports World Cup.
Liquid ហ្គេមមួយល្អហ្មងអែម
maybe a little bit distracted here. Weren't able to capitalize off of that knock
Liquid
that they got
game
on 4AM, so they are able to get Winda back on his feet.
អាហ្នឹង VS មែនអត់គ្នា
Nemesis will actually regroup. Melman kind of the tip of the spear here. A little bit close. They've got Myth on the other side of the ridge line, but they've got to worry about how they're going to get into zone. Shen will find Deal, and that's going to do it for Supers. He had to go somewhere. Unfortunately, Deal will go right into 4AM's waiting arms.
ដៃ
Yeah, what a
Pro
clutch
PUBG
Winda taking
តាំង
down
ចំនួន Israel
AGL.
ដល់ឥឡូវគូម៉ែ
Big names to take out here. Nemesis. Are they too passive for this fight here? Or are they just really aware that this next ridge is just about it? They want a third party and have a bit of a fight here, but Winda was too quick about it. Now Nemesis is opening up, taking lots of damage, putting it onto Shen. Soset finds him. Twisted Minds also fighting on the other side here, but this is the next big fight for space we're going to have in between 4AM and Nemesis.
4AM make their way through the raid boss here. Winda, 7 kills now for 4AM already. Starting to get that snowball rolling just a little bit. They would like to get a little bit more placement here. They're managing to get points through kills and keeping themselves in the conversation. Really ask for is Nemesis. Try to pull up, do the drive-by, see if they can spot him, but Winda playing a little bit sneaky, not going to matter. Sosid will finish him off. That's 2 kills now for Nemesis.
Surgically perfect for them to do exactly this here. Now they have the space on the eastern side, and now they're going to put pressure on everyone across the road here. Example finds empty. That is R8 out in 11th place, and Twisted Minds continues their onslaught onto this western side of the circle. So much space control. Fulsen's also looking great for that southern side here. They're closing in on the fields. It looks like a fields ending to me here, but look at that northern side power. So many teams about to fight.
A lot of teams, and you can see Team Liquid starting to creep in. You saw Alo hopped on that mortar for a second. Not sure if he was aiming at somebody or just trying to create space for them to crash. But right now, they do have a little bit of a foothold here right on the edge. Will keep those vehicles alive as best they can. Keep those smokes recycled, but they are right at grenade range.
What the fuck? Look at that net!
Get another one on the Alo now. The last player left alive as grenades rain down on Team Liquid.
Oh my god, what a way to hold on to utility until the time you know exactly when another team pulls up. They create a pseudo-red zone with that amount of nades coming towards Team Liquid. Go from 4 to 1 immediately. Soset finds Scabby. What a way to third party for Nemesis, pulling off onto Myth.
Beautiful timing here for our
bắn quả
Nemesis.
xiêm vinh.
They catch Myth out a
Nemesis
little bit.
ôi trời,
Mortars
mô
are starting
tả.
to fall through
Xin
as
mô
well,
tả.
though. Kiss will get the knock in a
mô tả.
moment, and that's going to force Nemesis to pull
What
back
the
a
fuck
little
is
bit,
it
but
mô tả
Diffix
kìa?
is already
Mày
across
có
the
tùm
street.
lum không?
They have to commit to this fight.
Bắn quả
They've got the
xiêm.
smokes laid down,
Bắn
but
quả
Myth is
xiêm.
returning the fire. They still got a little bit of
Flashbang.
utility left, and Levante is actually going to get the knock on a Diffix.
Chứ mấy
So
mô tả mày.
Nemesis now on the back foot.
Yeah, outside this new circle here,
Oh,
everyone's
bắn một
third-partying this fight here.
Không
They know
bật
Myth is a contender. Nemesis pulled up great. Getrax get
À,
as
đồ
well. State
bạn.
gets knocked as well. Petrocaro
Mày
deeply
làm gì
involved
sao
into
mũi
this
à?
third party as
third party
Nemesis
bắn
and
kìa.
Myth
Third
struggle
party
to get
bắn
into
quả
the circle.
xiêm.
Just full third and fourth partying coming from the south side here. Sosa now the last player left alive. Blue jiggling his heels. Kiss will get the knock. He will get the flush.
Nemesis
He
là
will
bàn xa
take
bên
down
ngon.
Nemesis. Myth now down to 3 players, but they probably could have lost a lot more there. Great recovery from them.
Getting a little bit of kills for them. 3 so far. Could have gotten more. Belmont finds Gedrox. A lot of teams fighting for space. And this next circle goes northwest. Twisted Minds are laughing. Their compound they've been holding on to for so long is still inside. And they're sharks in the water with that BRDM. Tai Lu holding on to that corner. But so many teams are going to be pressuring from that eastern side here. And they're on the other side. So I see a lot of teams could potentially put some pressure onto them. I don't think they're going to be able to reinforce and hold 3 teams off from that spot that they're currently in here.
Park Pro, the Bush Monster, trying to stay here as long as he could, but time to move here soon as Shadow Esports. They were
GK.
right above. EJ will take down one, but will go down in the end as Shadow Esports tries to crash down. Twisted Mind sees all of this happening just uphill, but they've got the compound, they've got the BRDM. They have a direct path into late game. There's no reason to get over here and get involved in this just yet, but Myth, they might get involved as they will find the angles. More utility being sent over in that direction. We've already seen how successful they can be as Alo will get the knock on a Jacob. The third party from Liquid comes in, but he will go down in the end. Keep Liquid out.
Hey!
What a come out from Kamals here. We're down to just 2 players from Shadow. Kiss finds Kamals though. Levante also finds the nades onto I-26 here. We're down to just Kiss and Baron. He's going to have to heal. He's down to just 23 HP. Full 3 gear turn, but nades comes in from Setsuna.
One more.
One player. Baron's going to have to put pressure onto him. He's half HP up on that hill here. Myth is struggling to stay alive inside this circle.
The timing might be good for him though, because Petrichor Road and Vitality were third partying, but now they're fighting each other on the south side. So he might be able to get a moment here to breathe, maybe to reset, as Baron tries to finish off Setsuna.
Oh, what a nade. Chơi khỏi bike zone. Yo, khỏi bike zone. Ôi.
Smokes are deployed from Baron here in mid.
Bike zone.
One more.
Bánh về ngọt.
Next circle has
SE, you doing it?
Lifeline.
Oh, fuck.
Straight out here now. Again, sharks in the water. Batsulin's looking at Setsuna. He's backing off the BRDM, maybe considering to put some pressure onto this. One Dragon does find Hello My Bad. Vitality's been alive for quite a while here, but this next fight with Petrichor Road and Tai Lu bound to be happening.
Yeah, Vitality, most of them took the fight against Petrichor Road, and they will win that fight. Petrichor Road will go down in the end, but they do lose a couple of players in the process. Now the last 2 players left alive. Tai Lu has been hanging out here in the middle for quite some time. They are very well dug in, literally and figuratively. As you saw those pickaxes go to work, but now Full Sense is trying to make the push onto Twisted Minds.
Toàn ngộp chứ, bên đây tận cua nó còn đi phổ nữa. Bánh kia nè.
Coming in here, Example finds Setsuna, 3 gear, 55 HP, continues to rain bullets towards mid. Kiss is low. He's going to be hurt by the circle in just a second here. He's going to be able to crawl in as this circle has gone north towards them. These 2 teams are a little bit...
Nè, quả xiêm bữa đấy. Đi xịt mang, chờ xiêm ạ. Bốc
Belmont.
Nice one, bro.
Involved himself into this flash finds him though with that Panzerfaust.
Gotta have your head on a swivel there, Flash. As Belmont, rather, as he gets run over. Shadow Esports does get eliminated in the end here, as Full Sense have lost 2. It's just down to Thanadol and Flash. Looks like the rest of Twisted Minds, after losing Batu and the BRDM, they are still holding strong in the compound. A little bit more utility. Thanadol going to find Perfectix. It's a good knock to open up the door here. Tab tries to go for the res, but the push comes through. He will win the 1v1 though, and now that is
Oh
full
my
sense
god,
taken
Twisted
down.
Man, bro, that's
Pick him
so
up,
good.
get him into the other part of the compound here. Smokes are coming in here. Yes, everything is being involved. Tyloo being able to survive the onslaught for so many teams, still being Paul alive. Extremely impressed with that. And now we're down to just 3 teams, Myth with 2, Twisted potentially with 3, and Tyloo with 4. But they have a lot of space ahead of them. They're going to have to move out of this corner just shortly when this next circle starts to move here. And 3 gears coming off from Myth here. We did see an arm in play, but now Kong, look at this. It's going to set off potentially towards Myth.
Trôi màyกูกระดัดมาโอนแกะมีโปรบาปนี่ดัดได้โอนดัดได้ปรามอ้วน
See how close he can get. Once again, this is a late game Myth. Already 9 kills, and they have been fighting their way in. Will it land where it needs to? No.
จะได้เชวงดิ
rock, but Myth just not there.
เชวง
They are looking all eyes in the skies here for this one. You're going to have to
try
as much as you can. But
ông hãy xỏ mũi thằng đại bánh về ngô mới mau.
Other lines of
Mũi
sight.
tiết.
Myth trying to dodge and weave this one.
Mũi
Here,
tiết.
Baron
Cho đây.
still with arm in hand, but now potentially losing his car. Now he
Cho
can
đây
stop it.
mũi tiết. À khó bắt
Baron's
thằng
gonna try to- Oh, damage done. 78 damage from the arm.
anh
Straight to the
bánh
body
ghê.
of Lee.
This is a terrifying duo to have to deal with.
Mai thêm mà nó bánh lăng
Even if
4
they're
nè
down to 2, and even if they're in a bad position, they do not go down easily. And they've got some pretty big weapons in the bag. Tyloo does need to
defend
be
champion
careful here.
mang cho mà chân nó
They're
4
going to
nè.
continue to empty the bag.
Tao ơi,
Send a few more
tao ơi,
mortars in.
David
But
ơi.
Baron is doing a good job of keeping
Một-
those smokes
một điện.
down, and unfortunately the mortars just not landing where they need
Ui
to.
tranh theo
Baron
xấu nè, bỏ vô ơi.
retreat back into the
Lẹ cái
smoke.
đất mà sao sai.
Now they're inside the circle. They got smokes deployed here. If they can get a
Anh
little
biết
bit
the
lower
king,
ground and
be the king.
start maybe
Tới
using the
CM bắn em được.
pickaxe just a little
Ê,
bit, they
chẹt
might
hai
be
nhưng
able
mà
to
đang-
create some space ahead for themselves. The
Ở đây
circle does
volleyball
look like to be
nhưng
ending
anh
up
ai được
close to
xem màn thế nào
this
thì cái
center
copyright
rock
strike.
here. And if
Ngày
you're
muốn
able
có
to
cái copyright
maintain
strike
or
này.
grab control of that early on here, the next fight is bound to be happening. And it looks like it's going to be Twisted Minds and Tyloo.
That's it, yeah. It's just basically try to survive long enough.
Mates!
Ô nệt
As
mà.
the nades will start coming through, they're going to land close. They're going to do a lot of damage. But one will bounce a little bit too far. That one will take down Example. The tab will be able to stick the heel in time, but more grenades being sent over in that direction. It's going to fall just shy.
Ọt bánh à xiêm muốn mà bánh
Quick
chân lọp
rescue
bà
onto
này.
Example. Now Tyloo advancing, getting control.
luôn.
Look, Baron actually already got control on
Quả
this one
xiêm
here.
chăm
They're
lùi
looking to
chặt bà
third
đây.
party. They're looking to put
Chăm
pressure on
tợt bà,
both of the
còn
teams.
chăm
So
tợt bà đây.
they do as much damage as they can to each other here. Kong does do some damage onto Perfectix. Look, full gear on him with 3. And Famas, lots of heals still possible.
goodness.
It's going to be
Chăm
a
chắc bà
huge
đây.
fight in between these two teams just soon here.
I love the fact that Myth took advantage of that briefest of moments where Tyloo was distracted by Twisted Minds and took the spot, took the rock closest to the circle. They are not out of this thing yet. As Tyloo try to set themselves up here. The smokes are down, but Perfectix and the boys are not waiting. They're going to push right in. They'll find 2, they'll find 3. They're down to just 1. Tyloo, can he do anything magical here? Example's going to go down.
Ủa sao mũi đăng ra nè.
Dragon managed to get that knock, and they're going to get him right back on
Quả
his
này
feet.
chăm
The
chắc ạ.
EMT gear
I love it.
coming in here big for Twisted Minds here at the end.
Outskirt, last player finds Example again. Now 2 is knocked here. It's down to Perfectix. He does have the 3 gear. Lots of damage done here.
Oi.
Oh my god, he finds Baron. He is him.
Retreats into the smoke, will put up the deployable shield. He knows that smoke is about to go away, so he has to drop some hard cover here. The train comes through, and Myth will improbably get the win. The fight from the north was so difficult, but what a performance here from Made in Thailand.
ปีนี้นะเป็นรอบที่ตะบังเคลียร์
Two-man team, Baron and Kiss locking
Quite
this
on man
down.
à, siêu nước
Remember,
bánh qua này.
they had an onslaught onto Team Liquid. They
Nè.
got third party. They got
Bắp
pulled
kẹo.
up on.
Hãy
They
tập bánh mà
survived
nâng tới em
onto
bánh à
two
pin
here.
muốn này là
It's
bánh
perfect,
buôn
of
xong
course.
mà
The
lọp
amount
đi.
of pressure they're able to put
kẹo.
on both Tyloo and Twisted Minds. Perfectix tried, man. What an performance from him. What a famous headshot he was able to apply
round
to
khỏi cái
so
bố
many
này.
of these
Kinh
players here. But yeah, it seemed difficult.
Round khỏi
It
cái
seemed
bố này.
impossible for Twisted Minds to do this. And yeah, that center control, that rock we were talking about in the dead center, they were able to take it at just the right time. And those peaks, Myth being able to do this and get this done here. His on screen. Had the pleasure of playing a little bit of pool with him in PNC, and he's hitting every single shot in game and on the pool table.
I'm telling you, man, Myth feels like one of those teams right now where everything is just playing out in slow motion for them.
Yeah,
like it felt like there was a 3 or 4 times in that round where they absolutely should have been wiped. But somehow, some way, they managed to come out on top. And in the end, it comes down to a 1v1 Perfectix versus Kiss. 1,000 damage done almost there for Kiss.
Yeah, and 7 kills to come along with it. What a way for Myth to show that they are in form. Just coming from that PTS2 circuit final win.
I mean, we've talked about it. They come in here probably as the hottest squad after getting 2 wins, really, in that Circuit 2. I think it was PTS
won the first series in the Circuit 2,
first series, and then Circuit 3,
14th place, and then they just need a little bit of a break in that middle series there, but then coming back and then points of second place, and that's just unheard of. They broke all the records we've seen prior to PGS and show what they're made of. Very impressed with Myth so far, and yeah, with this game here, being able to put out that amount of points after what we saw from them in game 1 as well, they're going to be so close, even potentially after this day, going straight to that final after just having played half of their games.
Well, it's a pretty scary thing for the rest of the lobby to see. They know what happens when Myth gets a lead. They know what can happen when Myth starts that snowball rolling in the right direction. They've seen it before. They might be seeing it again here soon as Myth gets a massive win here in game number 2. Also, gotta say, first game, they didn't do too bad there either. They got a nice little stack of kills for themselves despite going out a little bit early. Remember, they were the ones that crossed over the road, took down Shadow Esports, fighting their way in. But to start things off here, we do have an interview with Purdy Curdy from Liquid. Let's throw it down to Caleres.
That's right. Thank you very much, boys. Here I am indeed with Purdy Curdy, talking to him mostly about that game number 1 here from the tournament so far. So thank you for joining me, Purdy, here. Let's start things off with that map on Erangel. The boatyard finish, not something that we see too often at all. Can you talk to me about that? Obviously, you guys were holding full sense. I want to know about what you were thinking about all the other threats around whilst you were holding them. How much information did you have about where teams were in boatyard?
We were pretty well set with information. I think the biggest thing for that game specifically was at some point Luke goes, "I've got a mortar." I said, "Set that fucking thing up." Like, full sense is our biggest threat, and the fact that he was able to get some mortars off on them made our game very easy.
That felt like a shortest range mortar, like 120 meters or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fair. Let's move on then about the new circles, of course. It's not too many tournaments we've been playing with them, and you're going to have a lot of water in. A boatyard finish, obviously extremely uncommon as a whole. What do you think about these new circle settings? I saw that you guys had zipline guns available and stuff like that. What do you make of it?
Yeah, that's the new land ratio in effect, for sure. That mixed with the speed of the earlier zones, it makes for some chaotic moments. And hopefully you guys enjoy them, because I don't.
Hey, what the viewers get to enjoy, I know it's going to be difficult for the players, and it makes things a lot more spicy and a bit more chaotic. Let's finally finish up with, how has prep looked like for you guys for EWC? Because, of course, I think that there's been moments where even I've been very critical of some of the Team Liquid performances. You guys had an amazing year, of course, and then kind of had a harder time trying to catch up to that. So where are you guys at right now? What's the prep look like for EWC?
The prep is really good. It's actually been very good for a while. We got a lot of hardworking guys. We got Nomi, our analyst, works his ass off. Russ, our coach, works his ass off. A lot of it comes down to execution recently, and that's something we got to improve on.
All right, Purdy, thank you very much. I'll send you back to your booth. Good luck in the next games, my friend. As I'm going to head on over here, have a little bit of a chat about what was going on here with Mr. Matrim, who's going to be joining me to talk about this Tego game. Hey, Matrim.
Oh, hey, man. That last game was a barn burner. I loved the end of it. Twisted coming in very tail into that one. Got a bit dangerous. I was a bit nervous, but the VRDM, the rotates, felt pretty good. But that western side, I almost thought that they were going to die before they managed to get into the tail end of the fight with Myth.
Yeah, obviously, Myth looking amazing. What do we expect like when it comes to someone like Kiss being able to clutch out those kinds of moments? And I think we'll see even more of that. I think it's scary for a lot of these teams now realizing that, hey, Myth's already coming in hot after those PGSs.
Dude, okay, we can talk about that. We can also talk about the VP dying early actually did open up an opportunity, because that's an incredibly consistent squad. So we know the fact that anytime they falter out, you're going to have some opportunities for bigger squads. Well, I wouldn't say bigger squads, but bigger firepower to come out, and that's what we saw with Myth.
All right, well, it looks like we're good to go head on over to the studio here to break down everything that's been going on so far.
This ain't no regular thing. Came for the ring, you know what I mean. You see my name in the lights, better get right, champion. He thinks he can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing but go!
Tyler Wine, you're done.
Ladies and gentlemen, Myth has arrived. As the casters were saying, they had an amazing game one. This game two absolutely blew it out of the battle. By the way, Godspeed, Lace, Toffees, and the 7WG. Welcome back. Lace, thank you for joining us, but Myth.
Yeah, man, I've been out in the sunshine, so it's nice to be back on the desk, guys. I've seen too much sun here, but goddamn Myth! I'm so glad I got to witness this, honestly. I've been running around like a crazy person, but I got to witness the craziness that is Myth. Now, obviously, this Apex South team, you know, it's that kind of aggressive play style that gets me really going. I mean, match number 2, I'm not going to say it wasn't that great because it was a fantastic start from them. But as soon as was a Team Liquid sort of dissipate from that and almost Virtus Pro, that just paved the way for Team Myth to sort of make their comeback and their aggressive play style. And plus, you know, usually we, you know, give the reins to Jacob as the star player, but we gotta hand the mic over to Kiss because that was such an incredible performance and to be able to hold that sort of northern side mid-zone where we had Twisted Minds battle it out. It was just a waiting game, kind of sitting on that rock like a player.
It's about getting to the rock. There's two teams that made a huge end game, okay? Twisted Minds, because they opened the door for Myth to get to where they got to. You heard Martin say it, you gotta take the rock. Well, Gibraltar was taken because Myth was able to slide in there during that fight between Tyloo and Twisted Minds. And I don't care what anybody says. Scappy, he's scrappy. Jacob, he's a leader. But Kiss is the Reaper, and there's a reason we say Kiss of Death, because that man God's been went pop, pop, pop all over them.
I think what's just also so impressive, if you go back 2 years, you know, you talk about let's take a little memory lane, please, if you would humor me. Going back 2 years, you know, Southeast Asia in general was never really seen as a very strong region, right? They would come to, they'd come to an international, they would kind of get farmed, unfortunately, and then they'd go home. Over the course of the last 2 years, we've seen the rise of Cerberus, we've seen the rise of Forest. Now, obviously, in this fantastic team here, and Southeast Asia is no longer here just to participate. They're here to take over.
These Thailand teams are really turning up the heat.
And boy, did they end up taking over. By the way, Twisted Minds being able to use that BRDM, or as I like to call it, the Splat Maker. Because they were just going around all over the place, and they were able to bounce back. Remember what's been going on with that team? This is kind of what I wanted to see out of Twisted Minds coming into that second game.
You know, they're playing with a sub. They kept stronger in that whole fight. And is there a more iconic duo than Battlin and the BRDM at this point? I don't know, because he seems to be using it really, really well. What the key to me is Tyloo put a red zone on those boys. It was brutal. They got 3 back up. They pushed over the top, and they made Tyloo look like children. They came over and they said, all right, you've got grenades when you can hide, but when it comes time for slinging lead, lads, we know how to play.
I feel like a child between you two guys.
I don't know
why
let's talk about Myth. Absolutely disgusting. And then something else I want to talk about when we talk about Southeast Asia or just Asia, Windot, dude, holy crap. Winda came through, he wiped AGAL almost completely by himself, which was absolutely disgusting. And then he went on with his teammate to continue to wreak havoc before 4AM went down. And this is the first time, I think, this year in a while that 4AM is really a serious team to look at, especially when they have that team is disgusting.
Mostly good first person up there. Yeah, so link first person này, first person bạn lấy nha. And it is turning up really well. I think he's phenomenal, but he's this sort of new blood that's emerging, right? It's the same idea as like, where was Kiss 3 or 4 years ago? Becoming monsters. And that is the thing. You brought up SEA, right? The whole region has been powerful, right? We got from that region, PGC champions, 2 in a row. I think Myth has watched that and said, okay, we can do what they do. They've moved from forest, they got out of the trees, they've picked up a great support system. Now they have that behind them in addition to everything else they're doing. They're named after their own country. Like, that is all the hype you need to drive yourself and go the distance.
I got a chance to interview them both as well, and honestly, the focus on these guys, and I'm quite a yappy, chatty person if you can't tell at home.
We didn't know.
Sorry guys, it's coming out now, but my God, these boys are locked.
We
did. Earlier on, we got a chance to see all of that, but yeah, kids being able to perform Winda as well. I can't wait to see what other teams and other players especially are going to be stepping up in the coming matches. But I want to take a look at the overall. I want to see how everything is currently looking, because
let's come to ឥឡូវដល់នេះគិតតែបើគិតទៅដល់រឿងការអញ្ជើញវិញគឺមិនតែមានខ្ញុំនិយាយមែនតើសួរហេតុអីខ្ញុំមិនដឹងទេតែបើនិយាយទៅរឿងការអញ្ជើញគេអញ្ជើញខ្ញុំទៅណាគឺនិយាយមានមក
So
ការដែលខ្ញុំបានទៅម៉ាឡេដោយសារតែ
they average 5.1 points per game. They are already pushed well over that number, which means they don't have to really stress at this point.
បានទៅឥណ្ឌូក៏ដោយសារមេខ្ញុំដែរបើក្រៅពីមេខ្ញុំ
They got wiped again. You know who wiped them this time, Godspeed?
Why don't you tell me?
Myth for the second time.
Myth
has their numbers. So those guys need to adjust and just avoid the monsters.
Now you can see the eliminations from all the squads. Team Liquid, I mean, we saw what happened with Team Liquid, especially what you were talking about, Godspeed. Those Myth just demolished them, if we're being completely honest. Twisted Minds with the bounce back at esports, but I also want to take a look at some of the other teams on that second page, because these are teams, as we're heading into the first half, in a way, halfway through today, we need to start seeing a little bit more out of some of these squads.
So, Lace, I saw team vitality in that game. You saw it pull off the sort of the pickaxes, try to lock it down. It was a tough situation for them to sort of decide, do we go in, do we get out of this defensive position? And I'm not sure. That's what I'm worried about when you look at them, is are they making proactive decisions?
Yeah, look, I was sort of touching on I like an aggressive squad, and I'm not seeing it from Vitality whatsoever. And this is what you need to do in these starting matches. You do need to really sort of push through and get those eliminations early, because otherwise people are going to take that lead. And I did not see that from them. And also Team Nemesis as well. I did sort of pick them as my underdog, but now they're a little bit too under.
A little too under the dogs, as they say.
Yes.
Some of the other squads, GK, not really having a great day here at this star. I know a lot of people are expected a lot out of this squad. They were able to previously be with CIS. Now they have a Korean team coming in here. What are the expectations going into this next 4 matches, especially going into the next match?
I mean, I think for the organization, the expectations are high. I think it is a challenge. I mean, I saw, you know, it's hard for you to give a hype speech that involves a translator, right? So, like, the team owners are trying to hype up their guys, and that can be difficult. I do think, again, 2 games in, and you and I know, like, we've played this game, Seven, you know that it is not something that is won in a sprint. This is a marathon, and so I'm not going to write them off for tough 2 games where circles may not have favored them. I mean, Boatyard is kind of a one-off. Like, I almost got to throw away game 1 in terms of teams that didn't get in. Like, it's hard to do.
Well, let's give it a second, Godspeed. I want you to put yourself in this mindset, all right? You're one of the squads there towards the bottom. You're their coach. What are you going to be telling them, trying to hype them up? Let's just act like they don't have to.
My coaching style is a little how do I say this? You guys need to lock in 2 teams that I think need to lock in specifically are AJAL and Supers. Right? Those are 2 rosters that have absolutely no business being on the bottom. Now, again, we talk about only first 2 games, sure, yeah, whatever. But again, this is something that can snowball. You and I have specifically seen this so many times. Where a team that we know should make it, oh, we're not worried about them. Oh, we're not worried about them. All of a sudden, 2 games left. So I do think those teams and those rosters are obviously strong enough to make a push. Again, we're early, but seeing them down there this early does give me a slight.
You're not out of it when you let it slide, but every inch of rope you let slide rips the skin off your hands. You have to make those plays early, and for every chance you fall lower, it becomes harder, it becomes rougher to mentally get yourself back into this. That's my word with Soup. I think the Supers are amazing. Everyone knows I love Soup, but I need them to step up and slam down here in Game 3.
All right, well, we're going to be working on our coach talk here and make sure that we can actually end up it when we come to this. Because, Lace, you'll be the next one. Not right now. You'll be the next one. Maybe if one of these teams don't end up performing well, as we're going to be going into the last game, and for everybody, make sure you end up predicting some of these squads. Go to the EWC website, go to the app, and just put in your predictions, because it's out there for everybody. And if you do share anything on social media, use that hashtag EWC and hashtag EWC26, as we will love to see some of the stuff that you guys are sharing. But it's time that we send it over to none other than Avenger.
Thank you very much, gang, and we are back
What the
for
fuck,
match number
play your
3.
cam.
We are heading to the dusty dunes of Miramar. So far, made in Thailand, and Team Liquid at the top of the table. But
PUBG
right
PC
behind
admin
Twisted Mind,
Myanmar
Sports
nè.
and Virtus Pro round
Trời,
out
anh
that
em
top
cái.
5. But as the best mentioned, there's a couple
Oh,
of teams
Miramar.
that haven't really shown up just yet,
Map
Martin.
Miramar
Maybe
nè.
it's time for
Map
them to find some success here on Miramar.
But are we the ones
Holy
to pass
moly,
our
nó
just
nhẹ mày
enough
ơi,
just
kinh
2
mày phải
of
chăng
12
một
games?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll do that then. As the game is partying up here, Puerto Paraiso straight up northwest here. Very easy and great playing path. A lot of teams can get into the usual spots here. And Shadow Esports straight into Picado here. Can they make the most of it so far? They're 9 points because of that first game. They got a good amount of points here, but that center spot there, is that going to pay off, or is going to have to be strong for them? I'll say this though. We're going to only have 1 Miramar per day for all of Esports World Cup. The featured map is now Tego, where we have that twice per day. So Miramar just once. I do enjoy playing it. I think it's great, but we're going to be going just once per day here. Now for this. And
wow! អរគុណតៃណារងសម្រាប់បុកលុយ$10 អាមេរិក Rose ទៅ NV Chat បង
Look at that first circle pour. We're going straight up north.
Just barely kissing the plane path there, isn't it? All the way up to the northeast we go. Towards Kurdavai, up towards
roster.
Towards water treatment.
តែស្ទើរមួយ
Where it ends up
ស្ទើរមួយ
taking us
ស្ទើរមួយ
before
មានអារម្មណ៍ស្ទើរ
they've
មួយ
got their pick of the
តែ
litter as
សុខ
to
ទេ
where
មក
they want to
qualifier
go to
ប៉ុណ្ណឹង
start things off. And
Stack
that could be
roster.
a good thing, could be a bad thing. I know
Stack
you've
roster,
had a
stack
little bit of
roster.
experience in game. Do you find it getting that circle 1
My
dead
great,
center?
tao một
Does it
mình
become
đã-
more of a problem, or would you rather be dead center, or would you rather be kind of
Tôi
working
great,
your
mình
way
on
in
rồi.
from the edge, knowing that your
What
back
is
is
going
clear?
on?
I mean, there's 2 metas that's very defined. If you are
Korea.
in anywhere of high priority into
What
the
is
circle,
going on,
like 4am is
Korea?
right now, you are leaving extremely early to go to some of these high priority compounds, the barns, some of the areas around the center where you have a lot of control, where teams are not able to pull up onto your position just easily without you being able to put some bullets towards them. So you usually have 1 or 2 guys that go into that, you just get a few guns, not maybe even having a level 1 backpack, a level 1 helm, just get straight into that, a 2-2 split. It's not so much about preference, it's more about, do we have that, high priority towards the center of the circle, or are we far away? And then that shifts towards, if we're far away, we're going to loot for a long time, try to get as much gear, get your preferred guns, attachment, everything set up. And also, as you saw in the last game, utility is so important.
Absolutely.
That's what the most teams, they loot for a long time for.
Yeah, it's a big difference between a good central compound and a central compound that you can defend.
Yeah.
Right? So, especially from all sides, as you know, you got some of the best teams in the world in these lobbies. And, they're always looking to third, fourth party, any potential fights, try to get those points. We have seen a priority being placed by these teams on securing those kills, making sure that they finish off any knocks that they get. But we've seen how important, you said, as the 60 point roughly is what we're kind of thinking of going in, at least through 2 games, as being our cut line. And there's no last chance qualifier, Martin. It is just top 16 moving on. So there's no backup plan as we see Team Liquid. Getting a little bit close to R8, but it just looks like R8 doesn't want any of this. He's just going to go ahead and pop right on out of there.
Yeah, disengaging immediately here. R8 so far 0 kills, 0 placement points at the bottom of that leaderboard here, and
Này, Narong, I deleted
pushing
a
on.
lot
And
of
it's outside
comment
the
before
circle.
talking
There's
about
no point to fight for this. This has no priority, so I understand from R8's perspective.
While on
There's no point in staying here.
Yeah,
2 nades, a Molotov in hand, no first aids for him, so he's still trying to loot up here. Maybe even going back to Albozo is worth it for him. Zajar is going to try to get some more information. Liquid is leaving. They're going to be going out here, and AGAL so far, surprise to me, only 3 points through kills for them. Has destroyed Delvin, him as installed. See, absolute all-star players. They've had a great performance throughout the year for them so far.
A lot of expectation placed on that team, and with good reason. As you said, superstars up and down that roster, but nothing clicking just yet. But there's still plenty of time left to go as they fight their way towards the center of the circle. We check in with Nemesis down there in Puerto Paraiso. Nobody really anywhere near them, and also nobody really hugging that eastern road ahead of them. So they should have a pretty clean path in, just depending on how long they decide to hold this coastline. they decide to cut in, they may end up running into Virtus Pro, but we'll keep an eye on that.
ចូលមក Falcon ហៅពៀនឃើញនេះអាមេរិក
two second places in two of the series throughout the PGSs we've had so far this year.
Falcon.
We take a look at 4AM here. They're a little bit greedy, I would say. It's a 2-1-1 split for them. If some of these teams sniff out that it's just 1 or 2 players in some of the higher priority compound, they're going to get pulled up on. They're going to get drive-by'd. I'm looking forward to see what happens with that one for sure.
One thing they got going for them is that their split is pretty tight. So if they do get pulled up on, drop a couple of smokes, maybe a couple of Molotovs by the door, and you could slow things down enough that maybe your teammates could come provide some support, but then you open yourself up to the potentials of third parties, fourth parties. Obviously, you're dead center, right? So everybody is going to see that happening, and that is the risk you take by taking those high priority compounds. But we'll keep an eye on 4AM as we check in with Vitality coming through just north of Picado. Looks like they should have a pretty free path in.
Absolutely. And now for the teams that come in late, usually these 6 to 8 teams that are not close or somewhere close to the center, that's just about information. Trying to sniff out where other teams are, especially with the circle pop, to see if anyone starts leaving that compound. If they are in a split, you can see a car leaving a compound. It's like, okay, they're regrouping in another spot they prefer, and that's where the backfill comes. And especially here from a team like Virtus Pro, they're going to come in from the southern side from the high ground spot. They're going to have lots of information available to them once the circle starts moving closer and starts having a new pop.
Tyloo, you see just on your mini-map there, Himas from AGAL. This has been a hallmark of AGAL's play. They do like taking these wide individual splits just to get a lot of information about what's going on around them. And it looks like they'll hear Tyloo, if not see them. Himas will hold the line for now, and Tyloo will just continue their way around. They do have GAM off to the north as well, continuing to make their way in. I don't know about you, Avenger, but this circle, and I say this knowing that we've had hard shifts before, but this feels like it's got hard shift written all over it, doesn't it? I mean, it's just everybody is crowding to the south side of this zone, essentially, and if this hard shifts to the north, it would be absolute mayhem.
And especially with Myth coming in on that northern side,
map
wouldn't it be a classic that we do get a water treatment shift when they are so far away, especially with how far they've driven. Let's see how Myth approaches this one here. Also with Liquid and Iron coming from the western side, wouldn't that be a great event to get just a little off from that circle shift. But yeah, you are right. South and middle is very, very congested. Lots of space towards that northwestern side. Would love a classic hard shift towards the northwest. All the teams would hate it.
Oh yeah, no.
Just us talking about it, they despise us.
I mean, look, we're here for fun, and chaos equals fun most of the time.
Facts.
Well, let's see if we're going to get it. We did see Team Liquid playing with that BRDM, so that's something to keep in mind as you do get that water treatment shift. So all the teams to the south and the east have to start making their way in. You see AGL already in vehicles. Full sense on the very far south side. They're going to have a hard time getting in as they've got Shadow Esports, Vitality, any number of teams that could make their way over there as well.
Absolutely. Virtus Pro not getting anything from this circle here. They're actually trying to exit, maybe go for a wide wrap here potentially.
You do see a couple of teams kind of considering, like Nemesis right now is trying to make their way up to the north on the eastern side, which may push them over towards Tyloo. It looks like GAM and Myth coming in late from that northern side have actually been blessed because they have just their pick of the litter as to where they want to play.
Oh my God, AGL full pull up onto this 4AM compound currently held by HMM.
The rest of the 4AM boys just hopped in vehicles too, so it doesn't look like they're going to leave HMM by himself here. As see if he can escape in the Bronco. Nobody shooting just, that's a tough turn.
Group A, group này, group A. Group A, group B.
Every second that ticks
Group
by.
C, Falcon là group C.
Managed to get it out.
Falcon Navi là group C.
That almost feels like AGL let him escape there almost.
And also because like 4AM already has a decent compound here. Sure, it's not as dead center as AGL's here, but I'd rather be a 4-man strong here with a decent compound, and they can backfill this compound later on. Getting it some M out here is very crucial for 4M's campaign throughout this Miramar game that we have. Match 3 so far. After this game, we're halfway done. Here for some M. That is not good. Already smoking just a little bit here. He's going to try to get out and get behind some of the cover that's here. Shots coming in, connecting, and he's just behind cover. IGL.
There's a little combination there between AGL. Looks like Spaceman might be going on a rescue mission here to get Hazameme, but keep an eye on that. Here's Full Sense pulling up on this southwestern side. Now they got Tigger off in the blue, and they're going to spot out R8 just ahead, and they should maybe spot out Team Liquid as well. I think Luke 12 is the only one left behind, but Team Liquid, nice path for them. They managed to make their way into that northwestern side relatively cleanly, so a lot of space for them to work around just on that western part of water treatment. But Vitality, they might be in trouble here. They're making a send in right between Twisted Minds and R8.
Oh, look at all these shots. And in the arena, it's rumbling. You hear everyone pumping their DMRs towards 4M. And now with this one here, next circle's about to be popping here, and DN Super's ready for this emergency pickup. It goes somewhat south here, so I might wonder if one of them just stays. Twisted Minds looking great, GK looking great, AGL still in, water treatments completely open, and Team Liquid is moving in, and they're getting extremely close to Myth here. The two top teams potentially fighting shortly for water treatment control.
Looks like Team Liquid's going to go for the treatment plant itself, while Myth will continue hanging out on those hills just to the north. Looks like Virtus Pro actually went south. They left the circle, then came back in. So that south side, you just see so congested that the teams are being forced to kind of make some awkward moves. Here's Full Sense will full send directly into the south side of water treatment, but Liquid not really set up for this just yet. They're still kind of finding their way around as Curdy has that BRDM scouting around, and that's Sandstorm hitting at the worst possible time. Not sure if he was able to hear Full Sense pull through. Here's Nemesis. We'll take a few shots at Gam. Trailing duo of Gam making their way through their territory.
Smith is there. Jacob, the IGL is out scouting, trying to get information from Myth. So the guys are backfilling. Having high ground control, putting a lot of pressure on Gam as they move in and get closer to this spot here. Yeah, sure, they're inside the circle now. Teams on multiple sides. Jacob's spot here, that could easily be an approach for Myth to take control of this northern side. Pretty Curdy and the guys from Liquid are maintaining some of the control here of the water treatment, but I don't think they are aware how close and how many of Full Sense is inside the southern side of water treatment.
I feel like if Jacob had any more than just one grenade, he might get a little bit more active here. But if nothing else, he's going to at least keep track of Gam. Just on the other side, you see Scappy, Baron, and Kiss still off to the north, still kind of keeping track of everything, making their way through. But this is not a bad spot for Myth to play here, as I think Kiss has actually just popped on the mortar. He might be getting the coordinates from Jacob. And we'll see if there's fall on top of Gam here.
I love that I think that frontline man with the information, the brain of the operation from Jacob, and then trying to set up a potential approach and assault onto Gam. Let's see what happens with this one here. R8 also getting somewhat involved here with the Full Sense and Team Liquid's shenanigans inside water treatment. They do have a lot of control on that western side here. If they get a western shift here, it could be huge. My biggest observation right now is that the 3-1 split from Twisted Minds, having example inside that little gas station, if that shifts towards them, it's going to leave a lot of open space with the big Twisted Mind compound in the center.
But they're going to go a little bit too far, but Jacob will find Tanvu. And another one as well. Jacob with the high ground, making that AUG sing, but now he's getting shot at from the side by Sololzi. He's got to retreat.
Scabby might have heard.
I'll check because nó scout cái banh rồi.
He drops an 8 though. Could be doing damage to him. Doc Juice confirms himself, but does some damage to Scabby. One more player left alive. It's Cloris. Nate's hauling towards him. It's doing damage to him. 39 from that one. He does have a Panzerfaust in hand.
He saw Purdy Curdy pulling up in the BRDM and pulled out the Panzerfaust. Looks like Kurt was able to escape just in the nick of time. Virtus Pro gets eliminated, crashing right on top of Petrogor Road. But that south shift so huge right now. As you mentioned, Twisted Minds had that compound, but they are now sharing it with Shadow Esports.
Oh my God, this shift is
VP
insane. There's so much open fields in play here with that road going through. Tyloo sending it. Cowboy finds Kiss.
So on.
Diffict got the nade, but everything is opening up here. Gilman did get Dragon. Jacob goes
VP
out as
so
well.
on.
Team Liquid putting so much pressure on it. All the teams on the northern side, they realize we have no priority inside the circle. We're just going to fight for points, try to get as many kills and eliminations as possible.
Oh, so many teams opting for the salvage game right now as you see all the scrapping going on the north side, on the northeast side. AGL just trying to send it right through the middle through the GK 4AM gauntlet, and it looks like they're going to get away with it for now. Twisted Minds still managing to keep all 4 up while holding the line here against Shadow Esports, but there are eyes looking over in this direction as it looks like Full Sense might be saying something. Myth will get eliminated in the end as Gam and Nemesis crash down upon them. Looks like Team Liquid is now going to leave water treatment as well.
Nhóm anh vậy là
very breachable compound right now with Supers and Tyloo both having lost players. A lot of pressure is being applied. Shots coming in. Tyloo is out in 14th place as Human.
Tyloo với mình chân này.
Is left to a
ឆ្នាំមុនរស៊ីលើកពីន Free Fire ឆ្នាំមុនដូរឆ្នាំនេះBrazil Still គាត់ហ្នឹងខ្លាំងតែអញ្ចឹងបាទល្អមើលអត់តែល្អស៊ីសោះ
As we see Nemesis trading off with Gam, only Glory's left alive, playing around that ridgeline state with the blue zone flank. Not going to find any joy. Glories is going down to the blue quickly. The grenades will get sent out. He's going to put one up against the backboard. It's not going to do enough to take down Diffix. Glories is bleeding out. Team Liquid will find Huang F, steal one more kill away as they continue to just play from the edge. See if they can maybe third party this, get some more points.
ចាំមកនិយាយទៅខ្ញុំខ្លាចជាងគេ PUBG PUBG PC ខ្ញុំខ្លាច zone មក zone ឈឺមែន
putting on pressure onto them and still got that BRDM in play here. Now they're going towards Geeky. That might be a big fight here. I don't know if it's worth pulling up in a compound like this, but there's no priority. Glorious finds Diffix, continues to have an impact onto Nemesis.
These solo players are so hard to get rid of as Glory's showing him out, and there you go, Stead will end up finishing him off and trying to see if he can make his way in. It looks like he's electing not even to try. We'll just go ahead and try to heal up and heal through the blue, see anything off of that as we see Twisted Minds still having to deal with a Shadow in their midst. It looks like they're content with letting them hold that compound for now, but you see Team Liquid getting peppered from range. They're going to have to hop all into the BRDM just to survive.
Just down to Purdy Curdy and Luke 12 here.
Liquid với một cái ở lại rung chơi. Bốc ba Việt Nam lại.
Yeah, actually it is somewhat center in this zone. And we do have a big road in the middle that's splitting the zone in half here. He's going to be trying to defend this spot here from 4AM.
We were waiting for this push. It looked like 4AM was sniffing around in this direction, knowing that Supers was down to 2, but Supers holding the line so far. As we see the circle will up to the north once again. More fighting going on as R8 is getting eliminated. It looks like Shadow has overstayed their welcome. R8 trying to crash into that same compound. That's a little ambitious. They're going to pay the price for it as they are down to just 1.
Yeah, Nemesis out in 12th place here. So many teams trying to approach this Twisted Mind compound. They're being smart about it. They're holding off. They're maintaining control of the western side because they know they can third party later on. They didn't want anything from this very breachable side of the compound here. Now, damage done. Look at this.
Điên cái này.
Chơi
cái này PUBG trắng quá nha.
Một
anh ơi, vì tay trắng ứng làm gì ta bạn.
Look at that. The off angle from Deal pays off.
Supers just 5-head plays here, but there's just too many men to deal with, and Deal will get spotted out in the end, and they know exactly where Human is. Up and on the high ground, you hear shots coming in. This is Vitality third-partying from range, making things a little bit difficult as they'll steal away Deal. Now the grenades will come through. Do a little bit of damage, but Human just a pain in the butt right now for 4 angry men.
Chắc là EWC đại khinh cũng như lại một hoạt động đại man tiền.
DN Supers out in 11th place here. Win gets it with the Molotov.
Duke managed to collect a few kills there before going out, so not the worst thing ever there for DNS, but again, 3 games in, only 8 points, not the way they wanted to start their tournament. 4AM still 4 up as Vitality have to send something in here. On the play, and they've got some ridges. Actually, maybe keep an eye over here on this Twisted Shadow R8 compound.
It's going to be a lot of fights with that. Fulson's also trying to survive and make the most of it, but Flash, so much damage being done here by Phase 5 as everything closes in 20 seconds. We're going to hit Phase 6. PUBG finds Quizzy. Some damage done here onto Vitality as they have the center spot here. It could pay off for them, but
EWC
see how much time they got for it. Oh, look at the util coming in. Levante goes down as well.
You almost feel like that was a bait mortar pit for them to hide in. It looked so good until it didn't. And now they are in trouble as Vitality is just taking it from all sides. Gedrock's the last player left on his feet. We'll see if Hello My Bag can actually retreat through the smoke cloud to get revived, but that is going to be asking a lot here as you see Chewy from Petrichor Road just keeping eyes on everything around him. Diggy hole, the mantra of the day, as mortars will fall around them. 4 AM on the move now too.
Down to just 9 teams here, Poro. Just one more team eliminated. It's going to be one more point for placement here. So much pressure being put onto Vitality, and it just swings around the ball. The car's exploding too. And yeah, you said it perfectly. That could be a great bait set up for it. Did love it. AGL here. They have the eastern side control here as GK try to move into the northern side here, but they also have Team Liquid that's set up towards that center spot. We still have this big road that's effectively just a big river of nothing going through because there's just open space and no cover to play around that.
Absolutely, and saw GK. They were causing problems for a lot of teams.
Vitality nó ngọt lại hay hơi team ngọt sôi.
Looks like they're going to be able to get that man back on his feet. I think that's EJ.
Again.
But you see how difficult this can be to dig these guys out.
What the fuck?
Down 2 from 4 AM almost instantly. Shen has to stop down to heal up. Winda off side right now.
Oh my god.
Not part of all of this nonsense just yet. The blue zone grenade going to force Shen to move once again. Not able to go for the res on the spaceman just yet.
See here what 4AM is going to be able to do.
Team name số AGL đang top 4 tiết. AGL đang seasonល្អ.
Might be able to get the rest off here. No utility being thrown at them just now.
AGL season ល្អខ្លាំង
Stolen by Curdy Curdy here.
ឡើងនឹងអាច keep ពួក Vitality PE ហើយនឹង Liquid ទៀត
teams is on the south compared to the north. AGL Liquid, half a GK basically. This might be an AGL game depending on what happens here. Shen, more damage done. This car is going to explode too.
That
was a good thought for a second. Unfortunately for them, they're still in right now. The rest of your game kind of decided by how many more smokes you have.
Team Grey, SE,
just free farming fire over on this direction. 5 kills now for Twisted Mind, still 4 alive. A lot of that having to do with the patience that they've displayed in holding this compound, letting Shadow Esports just remain as a 3-man in there. Avoid them for now. Eventually, you're going to have to deal with them.
Esports nó
survive.
This is such a great compound to be putting out pressure to the rest of the circle. Just flat terrain around them. Let's see if they are able to maintain control. Look at that, that's a perfect circle for R8 and Shadow Esports, but Twisted Minds is ball guy strong. They know exactly how to approach this next compound. It's going to take some fight, but let's see what happens. From the northern side of the circle, though, it feels like only one team is going to be able to stay alive once this fight between AGL, Liquid, and GK finally ends up.
Shadow Esports going to get an opportunity to
GK
mistakes from game 1 whenever they weren't able to hold off Myth as they made their push away. We'll see if they can hold off Twisted this time around. It's 4 AM. Battered and bruised, but still alive and still in it. Trying to fight their way in, but Chewy and I-26 just dug in so well. That is so difficult to try to dispatch with. AGAL, meanwhile, they're outside of the blue, or right on the edge right now. They're taking a lot of damage here from Twisted.
So much damage being done to AGL. Destroying him down. It's going to be rough. It's going to be difficult. Maybe impossible for them to get it. They'll bleeds out. Setsuna gets the point.
Vitality đang C bay Belarus mùi.
3 teams at the top is alive, but look at that.
Twisted Minds just exerting pressure across the entire lobby right now.
GK đang gray này. GK đang gray này. GK gray lên team lại đâm gray.
But Twisted 6 on the board for the team. As 4 AM trying to regroup.
Anh tầm xa
maybe take this fight against Petrichor Road, and it's going to be a little bit easier now.
Anh tụi xài anh ơi.
Liquid might get a lot of points away from this game here. Hello, my bad fans. Shin here. Setsuna finds Songjang with up to 6 teams now as 4AM.
Chân tự đại bạt bị thả thị bánh.
Vitality's able to defend this off with Getrox as well being alive inside this circle.
What a hold, Vitality.
Petro nó có cả đây này.
They took the quote-unquote bait ditch earlier. Perfectix just solo pushing Teddy, and he's going to go down, but the trade come through. No, Teddy will get 2, and now Twisted Mind's in a little bit of trouble. Teddy holds the line, but goes down in the end to Team Liquid. Shadow Esports down to just Kamal's, but the damage has been done. All the teams that were coming from the west have been broken apart, and now all of a sudden it's a 2v2, v1v1, unless Shadow can get both of these revives off.
Oh my God, what a way for Shadow to get that. Teddy made everything possible, and they could third party that fight between Twisted Minds and him. And look at this next circle here. Does go off the road here. Liquid's going to have to make moves. Petrichor Road is going to have to make moves. And Shadow, a gift from the gods. Their compound is still inside.
And they are able to just fully reset. Vitality not in a position to where they could capitalize off of those 2 knocks. They just have great position. There's no reason for them to push just yet. Petrichor Road decides to do Chewy and I-26. Really, I think this might be just a game of chicken between themselves and Luke 12 to see who has to move first.
Yeah, sure, it's just, Luke dying out and he has to run from this one here. It's difficult to make anything work without miracles, without cover. Yeah, Petrichor Road about to be having a fight with Vitality. This could just be a straight up gift to Shadow Esports. Perfect third party opportunity from them. It looked like Twisted Minds had it in the back, but Teddy denied everything from R8. Finally some points for them. 4 points overall, and now AGL, in last place.
I like it might have been a rare misstep from Twisted Minds, maybe just not keeping track of R8 and not knowing that he was there, because he saw Perfectix just solo push into the building like there was nobody in there, and that is not something you see very often.
And first rule is you should never go in solo in a house you've not cleared together. Sure, you have confidence, but you need to go in together to be able to refrag so you don't lose players like that. The Twisted Minds made exactly that mistake, unfortunately.
Get a price for it. Now Team Vitality on the hold here against Petrichor Road. They've managed to find a little bit of a foothold with the high ground. They still got grenades left, and they're going to drop them right on top of Halo My Bad, but it's not going to land. Those grenades, you have to hit those if you're Petrichor Road, and that's going to take down I-26. The smoke walls are going down quickly. He's going to try to go for the res. We'll see if Vitality lets him.
That's difficult. Well, Getrox might even be stuck under the car. It exploded straight onto him. He was stuck down in a hole.
Oh, no.
He can't even get out.
He's stuck, yeah.
The car slid onto the top of him here. Him being able to be alive is a miracle.
Really unfortunate there for Vitality, but I don't even think they have any utility left to throw.
Utility
to send down, and so does Shadow, taking the opportunity to take the center of the circle, and now they're trying to collect some more points. They will finish off Petrichor Road. Vitality secures second place, but will
Shadow Esports,
Shadow Esports, the relative unknowns, come in and get the massive win in match number 3.
Anh thôi chọc khổm lan ngư bắt ruồi.
What a way for them to defend that compound.
Xét chơi ơi.
Twisted Minds take down Teddy and then take the chicken dinner here. Shadow Esports. What a way to do it. 9 points going into this. Levanza just laughing. What are you going to do here? They're able to get way more points than you actually expected for them, considering that they sent it that deep into the circle, found some holes, dug out, and put pressure on.
It was always going to be a tough game for Vitality once those circles kind of pulled away. Fighting them
They're so excited.
Just sent it, and they should be. What a game from Shadow. I mean, the fact that Twisted Minds basically allowed them to live right next to them without ever pushing them for a majority of that game, it felt like. And then in the end, as you said, Teddy just throwing just a wrench in the works for Twisted. It was like they didn't know he was there.
it felt like the way they set up was like, okay, as long as our part of the compound is in, we're just going to put pressure. You saw examples, tons of damage, no kills, sure, the other guys got most of it, but still, they were able to just think, okay, let's try to stay on the roofs, try to get as many kills as we can from outside the circle, and then we're going to deal with the compound later. It felt like an easy plan, but the way it got executed was just not the way to do it for Twisted Minds. Still, sure, they got points. They are so far ahead right now. They're still in the top 4, and it's looking good. And we're only halfway through day 1 here. 3rd game done, Poro. What's your thoughts so far on the teams?
Oh man, I mean, Myth looked absolutely dominant in their victory. Team Liquid now putting another good game up there as well. I think they're in sole possession of 1st place. So Team Liquid looking pretty strong. Twisted Minds, despite not getting a win just yet, they're looking pretty strong as well. You can't discount them. I mean, they exerted so much influence over that lobby this last game just because of that high ground that they were holding.
Shadow Esports. They know that they're about to win here. So excited.
That's massive, man. You can't help but smile. You can't help but be excited for them. I mean, this is a team, let's be honest, not a lot of people had very high expectations of coming into this. They're not a known commodity, but that is a big, big win for them here in match number 3 to follow a pretty good performance in game number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Found themselves in the boatyard. Were able to set up and then take the chicken dinner here in game 3.
We love that. Well, 3 games down. We've still got 3 more left to play, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Casting it. Cho some lane này. Vàng đấy, lò mơ đã hợp chí rồi. Cái lên màn mạch tôi chưa trong video bờ mình scroll khơi nó tại bạn mới thằng bạn mùi game. Group A versus Group B của mùi game. Nhà nó tôi chia miếng Group A versus C mới được. A versus C. Nam nó đi ngày nó đi.
Doing well, yeah. Doing good.
How are you feeling about your chances here to figure out some of these plays?
Side AC ngày nó A B.
Not too good.
Ngay mà play B C. Thì đó mà Group cái lên của mùi game.
Identify a play from the past. Okay, we're on Miramar.
Tao máy ro bật tụ.
Which teams
Pi lệ muối pi bay
maybe in this
bom bay
Ding ding ding, that is a correct answer straight away from Luke 12.
Mà pay pi crom vô là đập muối.
There you go, Genji and PE, the hold 2v4. Okay, that's 1-0. Let's move on to the next clip.
Actually,
I can see on the leaderboard why this might be easy to identify.
Sorry, I need to learn. Wasn't the
Twisted and someone not doing well.
Genji again? I think Genji again, almost.
I'll give you a few more seconds. You're right with one team, obviously.
Hanso's Arrow? I don't know.
No, I think in the end this one is Twisted versus All Gamers Global, actually. AGAL. Next one's yours, okay?
Yeah.
You've got this next one.
Oh, Team Liquid.
Wait!
I got it.
He did it!
I did it.
He did it!
All right, Luke, what happened here? You can tell it. I think we almost throw. Well, what's happening right there? Some chaos.
You know what's funny?
Genji, yeah. What player is that? I don't know.
Cái cái thơ blur đây.
Some
I tia vậy? I tia team nè.
You know what's funny? Is that actually, yes, of course, it is Liquid versus Genji, and it is described as Liquid BRDM Chaos.
I tia team nè.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, let's move on to the next clip.
Team Liquid. That's us. Who are you shooting at? Let's see who that is.
Bolt.
Who's the Bolt? It's T5.
Guys, you're amazing.
I think we're camping T5 right now. Out of North George? Yeah.
Purdy Headshot versus T5.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
There you go.
The Bolt guy.
All right, the final clip. Let's run it. Also might be quite difficult. From 2023, game is 8.
Ủa, anh ấy đang thua vậy đấy Lục ơi.
Oh, I remember this clip. Yeah, it's...
Salmon right?
I don't know the teams. The Pixel's the guy that clutched, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
I remember this.
But you don't remember who he's against?
SSG?
Nope.
No. FF?
Nope.
I have no clue.
It was E Arena, but hey, you got Pixel. It's pixelated and you got Pixel. Guys, you did amazing. Well played, boys. I thought you were going to be doomed. You knocked it out of the park. All right, that is our first iteration. Thank you very much, Luke. Thank you very much, Cowboys.
អូខ្ញុំគ្មាន talent លេង PUBG PC ទេនោះហើយ
A team that nobody expected to do this well except one person. We were being told, don't even talk about them. Don't bring him up. But Shadow Esports with the... That's right. And another top issue believing in this team since the beginning.
I don't know if I go that far. I will say that they needed to have a good day one because tomorrow is going to be probably the worst day of their competitive career because they have to go up against 17 for a bunch of drops. So they need to have a good day today, and my goodness, they sure did. Now, that was handed to them on a silver platter the way that end game sort of played out, but I'm not going to disrespect it. A win is a win. It doesn't matter if it's an inch or a mile.
Look, we've seen a lot of teams with the same position who should have won not win, right? Not take the advantage and push that envelope forward. So the fact that they were able to get the win is great. Also, Setsuna, just great round from him. Really coming in the clutch right at the end with a couple kills. You know, maybe one or two.
Especially when we talk about that finish. I know Godspeed, when we were watching, it's like, man, that is one of the toughest finishes for a lot of the squads.
Yeah, so that circle, there's a few circles in Miramar are just horrible to play. That specific one around that compound south of water treatment is one of those because if you're not already set up in the zone, especially where you saw teams like Twisted already trying to get set up, it's a crapshoot, right? How many times have we seen that Death Valley Road kind of just become a problem for the teams? And as you can see, it was not a problem for Shadow, though. They were able to kind of put themselves in that compound that I'm talking about, and that's exactly why they were able to weather the storm and get that first place finish with 19 points, 9 kills. That's impressive.
And Team Liquid being able to bounce back in this one after Myth ended up just destroying them. You know what? We're just going to go with absolutely destroying them. Good performance out of this squad there with 11.7 coming in from kills. Now, Lace, I know you're looking at one team specifically, and it's none other than Full Sense because right now they're not having one of the hottest starts. Very inconsistent.
Yeah, let's have a little conversation about them. For, you know, a defending world champ, we ain't seen this very champion-like team, but, you know, being in that sort of middle of the rank on the leaderboard, but I'm seeing a very slow decline. And, like, with a player like, you know, Belmont on there, I just don't know how they're sort of going to bring this back. And, you know, they came from a first, I think, in the PUBG Thailand series. So I guess their sort of competitor at the moment is like the likes of Myth, where they're doing exceptionally well. But yeah, Full Sense, they're in a little bit of a sticky conversation, we'd say, and we're not sort of seeing any good truth from them.
If we learned anything about Full Sense at PGC, it's that they're exclusively a finals team. So here in the group stages, we don't really know how they play, and I think they are being well in the Thailand series. But my pick for that, and the reason they did that, is I think it's a little bit weaker as a larger group. But more importantly, it's an aggressive style of play over there that I don't know that it translates as quickly to the international.
It's an APAC thing. Multiple games. I don't know what's going on in my region, guys, but we're just full send, but sometimes it don't work.
I mean, but that's literally what built APAC. Right? When we talk about, you know, the slump 2-3 years ago when they weren't that great, that was still always their style. You look at teams in the past like Day Trade, right? They were so fun to watch because they would just send it in, but they would die. And we're kind of seeing a little bit of a throwback to that, which I'm not really a big fan of because when they were servers before AJAL, you have him as some of the best players in the world. At one point, he was the best player in the world. The trend of going backwards is not what we want to see from these guys.
And something that ended up helping out some of the squads there that were in the middle of the pack is that I believe from first place to 6th place, in Circle 6, we only had 2 squads alive. Only 2 teams, which kind of allows some of the other teams to catch up, especially with the dominance that we were seeing earlier on out of Myth. One of those squads being Vitality as well.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Vitality goes, and we'll get to, I'll turn that over to you to talk about in a second. I do want to say that you can't hold this circle against anybody, though. As you brought up, this was a nothing burger of a circle, right?
Yeah.
And some teams had to try to find to make a feast out of it. I know Vitality tried, and others came through with a little bit of a better position.
I mean, I was just kind of touch on our joke that we had. I think they may have heard us because we were talking a little bit of smack about Team Vitality being down the bottom there, but honestly, I think that kind of pulled in their favor. Do I think it's down to skill and... No, I think it was a bit of luck. I stared into the camera and said that one. I'm so sorry.
Toughies, you mentioned burger earlier, man. Come on, I'm over here going to get hungry because I know somebody that's currently hungry for a lot of kills is none other than Luke 12. My goodness, his performance today, Godspeed. We saw him earlier on with the mortar, but now backing it up, it doesn't matter what he uses. He's just performing today.
Look, when Luke 12 first joined the STK standouts, right? Steve, you know this. He was arguably, in fact, I don't even say arguably, he probably was the best player on that team. We saw him clutch. He was the reason that Purdy was able to finally win his first regional title. And so because of that, Luke has always been such a staple and such a such a performer on this team. Over the last 2 years, I don't want to say he slipped, but he definitely hasn't been that top performer we've seen or that we're used to. However, seeing this performance so far today, it's been wonderful to watch because Luke has always been a powerhouse on that squad.
The spark is
5%.
Yes, okay? The spark left and brought back the spark, if you understand what I'm saying. And it seems to work well.
Brazilian.
Well, but I'm saying, see, you know, I think the change in the squad gave a little fresh air. But you got to remember, like Alo, Purdy, and Luke have been playing together for we had like 7 years at this point. So they have that chemistry, they have that system, and when it works, it works. The thing I love about what they did is they got caught on that rotation trying to go over to the left side from the top. They lost 2 players and they turned back, hunkered down, held their position, and salvaged. I think it was 4 or 5 points out of that recovery, and that's what the difference is between winning and losing these events.
I also have to say, that roster, you talk about the core 3, but when Sparking had joined that team, everyone was so excited, and he was so dang talented. But Cowboy, I think, has been a wonderful addition, has really been stepping up in that roster as well. So I want to give a big shout out to Cowboy and his performances.
And he needs a haircut. You might see that.
Okay, I'm not saying all that.
He said it to me. He's like, where is the barber? And I said, I'm pretty sure there's one at EWC, don't worry.
There is one, actually. I ended up using it, so
nice.
It looks okay. Well, I'll let him know exactly where it's at. Maybe we'll have Colares catch up with him and talk about that hairstyle that he currently has. But for some of the other squads, I mean, we got to look at the bottom, too. This is the halfway point. We have AGAL there towards the end too. This squad is gonna have to step it up in a big way. You know what? We'll actually get a chance to talk about some of these other squads later on. But for right now, I'm hearing that we got something going on in the stage with Barney and Luti.
It's called the City of Love. Yeah. But you guys put garlic in everything. You must go through breath mints like crazy.
You know what, Bunny? What I wonder about London is like it's called the big smokes, and you all have bad teeth.
Okay. Snails are gross. I know, but British food is like tasting of nothing. Yeah, that's fair.
You
suck at football. Yeah, that is fair.
PC mobile មានខអីក៏មួយលេងលើទូរស័ព្ទមួយលេងលើកុំព្យូទ័រខំ tactical gameplay strategy វាប្រហែលគ្នា
We just find a pickaxe and we dig a hole and we stay in it. That's a good idea. Or
ហើយការលេងមួយទូរស័ព្ទកុំព្យូទ័រវាគ្រាន់យើងដូរ strat នៃការលេងកាន់ទូរស័ព្ទលេងកាន់ mouse keyboard.
I saw what you did.
បើនិយាយ strategy ក្នុង game ប្រហែលជាដូចគ្នាច្រើន
Reunited and it
តែគាត់ថានេះវាមាន utility ច្រើនជាងមានដូច mota មានជីកដីជីកអីចូលតំណងចឹងមក កុំព្យូទ័រអែមមានអាជីកដីដែរណាវាខ្លាំងមានអាជីកដីលើក shield
James on the stage just because it's James, but other than that it's been a lot.
ណាបានលេងហ្គេមនេះស្ទីម PUBG
Big shout out to Setsuna, of course, just a magnificent performance, and we just got to see them step up. And him step up for his team when we look at the ENC qualifiers. They got into that 4th place cusp position.
Why create something so complicated?
So it has been just a good couple of weeks for Setsuna.
For sure, and he was also at PNC
GK
not too long ago. A very, very good player in his own right, really showcasing what he can do, given a little bit of space and opportunity. Very impressive the way he's able to lock down that compound and keep some really good teams out. You know, they struggled with it that first game. We highlighted it quite a bit that they couldn't hold Myth out, but they're on that Miramar, no problems, and they come through with a big, big win.
Rondo.
We go next, Matt, and this one, playing path looks pretty fair, pretty much down the middle, almost a little southerly.
Hints of Jejina City here lately. We haven't gone Jejina City yet, but we just keep going on that eastern side. I would love to see
VP, VP មាន patrol
Team Liquid off of a good start in that last game is just being really consistent.
ចុះក្បែរគ្នាបងនេះបោកគីឡូគ្នាមែនបងក្បាញ់
If it takes
Fatality ទៅក្បែរ team គេ
for them to perform like this, consider me a #1 team Liquid hater.
RX នៅក្បែរកាំណាំស៊ីដាច់បងតែឯងអានោះដឹកឆ្ងាយ
I might need to start going off a little bit about the Korean teams then, because they have
been
doing so hot here today. GK and the Supers have been just a little bit
kind of underperforming. Group A ប៉ះ Group B.
I kind of consider that to be
មក Group មាន 2 4 9 8 ក្រុម
a bit off that river coming out of Jadina City over to the west of it, so that is going to be full of Sims, who also just had a little bit of trash thrown their way by the desk.
Not the same company and not the same name. What the fuck? Why you put it here by me?
So this is going to be a really good situation for them and how they're going to handle it. Myth going to be pretty close to this.
អត់មាន team ខ្មែរទេ
I think that we've got a little thing that we're going to
team ខ្មែរយើង EWC គឺមានតែ Mobile Legends មួយណាគ្នាហើយព្រះអង្គច័ន្ទមនីអើយ
soon I promise.
When does it happen?
Eventually. Oh, I see what you did. Oh, how did I miss that? That was good. Well done, my friend.
龙都我最喜欢跳的是地图中心的车站，然后因为也是跟沙漠是雷同的嘛，然后地图圈中心，然后物资肥，然后肉点的人也多。
All right, Winda. 4 Angry Men, not a terrible day, not a great day, not a good day, but this is a squad I came in with a lot more expectations. Spaceman's been popping off, Shin kind of coming into the squad, having a lot of success, but Winda has been the guy so far whenever we've been looking at this, most notably today. 12 points on the day for 4 Angry Men is going to make for a lot more angry fans.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that we know can pop off. We've seen it this year. I mean, we've seen what Shen can do. He is outrageously good when he's at his best. So having the players behind him, like the caliber of Spaceman, who we've also seen be really, really good in the past, with Wenda, if he could keep performing at that level where he can bring in 2-3 kills for you, that's huge. Like, that's going to open so many doors for a 4 AM team that should be really frag heavy. And we'll see if they can just kind of continue that momentum. They're going to have a pretty nice look at it, of course, starting from the Neox factory. So they're going to be a little bit more central circle early.
Oh, Tigger, you've got some Petrichor Road friends hanging out. We've been talking a lot about 4 Angry Men, but Petrichor Road's been having a quietly consistent day. Now they're going to find themselves a bit of a split right next to Tigger over here, pretty close to the center of the circle. We still have 2 players for Petrichor Road making a rotate, while Example for Twisted looks like he's going to be trying to claim some territory. So Example might take a couple of pot shots. But with this big, wide split coming up from full sense, Tigger's pretty isolated, and I don't know if he has any idea that this is coming.
Yeah, something felt amiss for him for sure. It feels like he at least had some kind of sound cues that people were close and now he definitely knows. Yeah, now he definitely knows. But the way he was playing it so cautiously really led me to believe that something was amiss for sure. And he is just going to try to get on out of there. Maybe a little bit of a rescue mission here from Tanadol, trying to loop his way back in. And it looks like this should be successful. You've got a little bit of covering fire. This is a nice little setup for full sense.
Yeah, there's also a couple of hillsides that you can retreat away from. The timing on it's pretty good. Gamma is going to be getting to a hillside cluster just to the east of this in a little while, but it's not going to be a problem yet. They should be able to regroup just fine. That means the Petrichor Road gets control over the center of the circle. To the east of them is going to be R8. To the northeast of that is going to be where 4 Angry Men are going to be playing. And remember, that river does cut in around that area where R8 as well as 4 Angry Men are. While Twisted is getting more and more separation and control towards the center of the circle, that does kind of put them on opposite sides of 4 Angry Men.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of the expected split there between Twisted and 4 AM, given how they split the test track and the Neox factory. We didn't see anything in terms of a battle in the early part of the game. So Twisted, I mean, you got to give Twisted a ton of credit here. 29 points already today. You know, unfortunately not being able to have Lou come in the tab, a very good player, no doubt. As a coach, able to step through and help do some serious damage. But you know, the 3 main players that are still here. And these guys situation.
Vitality on a little bit of an adventure here. Winda's going to be on the other side. That was so easy. Gadrop's going to go down. Easy point for 4 Angry Men is Vitality, who have been kind of looming around in these later stages. Now presently in 6th place, going to have an early out for one of their players, and make it a little bit more complicated on the rotate, because Vitality is going to be tail inning, just coming into the circle to the east of where 4 Angry Men are going to be at.
Yeah, this feels like 4 AM offering up a little bit of a different look to what maybe you had seen in the past from them on similar circles, because Vitality pretty confident to just send a player up on top of this roof, assuming that it would be safe, but 4 AM this time actually leaves a bunch of players back, and they're going to profit for it. So that feels like a move that could be just trying to do something different than what you've shown your opponents previously.
We do also have an emergency pickup that has been called. It looks like it is going to be anyone's legend taking that with 2 of the players. Dylan already approaching the circle. Him is going to be playing back behind that one. Try to jump over the EMP. Vitality is going to have tons of information. Remember, they just lost that player up on top, so trying to see if they can get eyes on Winda, but he's not providing too much of an easy target. Instead, it's going to be a couple more shots coming from range, make it a little bit more complicated, but Winda should be fine as that emergency pickup is called. Teams that are not yet inside the circle, Nemesis is just now touching it, Supers is just crossed in, but Team Liquid as well as Tyloo down to the southwest, they still have a little bit more of pathing to go, while Myth has also just entered the circle.
And it looks like Tyloo's going to go for an emergency pickup as well, so they've got few options to get into this next circle. Maybe try to time it with the phase 2 pop. It looks like full sense, again, that early rescue mission, keeping them out of the clutches. Tenadol and just doing a little bit of peeking around, seeing what's going up in the air. Of course, Rondo, you're going to have some aerial threats that you're going to have to maybe worry about.
Twisted bắn
the supers drive by.
Điên này thì điên này hơi cái
Super should be able to get away from it. Good job on Twisted to control his territory just to the southwest of where they're going to be playing at is going to be where Shadow is. But it looks like Supers don't have too many other options, so they're going to have where Petrichor Road is playing. If they can get through this stage of the gauntlet, there is at least going to be some open terrain before they get to full sense in that territory. But there's not going to be a lot to play with. A couple of hills, I think there's a couple of shacks, and yeah, okay, a couple of rocks too.
Rex is fine, able to hang on there with a little bit of a love tap from his teammates. Let's see how they want to split this up. Supers looking like they're trying to figure out exactly what they can, work with here in this situation.
It's one of those moments where you realize, why is nobody playing the center of the circle? Oh, this is the center of the circle. Nobody really likes it here. So, I mean, yes, they can dig down, they can do some stuff, but I just get so nervous in this section of the map for mortars. Especially if you're playing this the way that Supers are playing it, there's going to be so many mortars just watching around the outside of it, as it is going to be anyone's legend, as well as GK kind of bumping into each other. Dylan's going to spell a con, gets flush on.
Yeah, they had taken a little bit of this high ground position
earlier.
Maybe they could do a safe rotation there, but AGL sets up a little bit of a trap, and Delwyn comes through with the big kill early. Second circle is going to go a little bit southeast. Most of the river that goes from Jadena City over towards the left, so
PUBG Mobile Legends, yeah, they're going on.
Here you go. Supers with so few places to play just sends it right into
territory.
got control.
PUBG PC នឹងមានអ្នកលេងណាគួរសមអ្នកលេងមិនអត់ទេអ្នកលេងច្រើនណាស់តែគាត់ថាអ្នកប្រកួតអត់មានអ្នកលេងគេលេងក៏សប្បាយគ្នាគេចូលចិត្តលេងហ្គេមហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹង
Anyone's legend's going to have to be roaming right in behind DK, but it is just a full cluster up here to the north. The Shadow is going to sneak by, but on the other side of this is going to be Twisted, as well as R8 and just to the south of it, of course, Petrichor Road.
Yeah, things are getting really clustered. A lot of teams.
Twisted បាញ់ Pero ដូរទៀត Pero ហ្នឹង
one of the few areas that's safe, like you were talking about, a lot of wide open stuff. Example will take down I-266. Continuing to put pressure through here. Love to see them play with the confidence. That's a good grenade towards Ming Ming. Doesn't catch him though. Ming Ming able to get around the side of that box quick enough. Isn't going to find any more damage. Though has to be diligent, but he's getting shot in the back. 0-4 almost takes him down. But the molly, it's done. He's going to get the job done.
He's just got to run in and flush this as fast as possible. He knows he is swarmed by Twisted. Nades going to come up all around him. And it is going to be Example that gets the knock on the Ming Ming. Twisted's going to come in, get a little bit more control over this territory. Looked like they wanted to go in for the res, but instantly rebuffed by a very aggressive Twisted Minds.
I love Twisted Minds. I mean, the circle shift not super favorable for you overall. Some teams were ahead of you in the rotation game. 0-4 is laughing at normally.
I feel that. It's every single time you think you're going fast enough just to break through the fence, it never feels fast.
I don't believe there is such a thing. I just don't try to hit him anymore. I just gave up.
Everybody's going to be trying to hit him now. Manages to survive so just narrowly.
It is by the skin of his teeth, for sure. We'll get there, and it's a place. It's not a safe place in the long run. Maybe he gets unaccounted for. Maybe the teams that know he's there, in particular GAN, just kind of has to deal with other stuff, and he's left to survive for a while. But that car's going to make very obvious.
Some eyes are drawn back up to the north. You can see R8 that we kind of have eyes on looking at Twisted. But Twisted trying to get their reses back in. 4 Angry Men has to go over to the east. Vitality's got to go to the west. And remember, this is the more open section of the map, so they have to make it by R8. Twisted luckily being distracted right now.
Vitality
should provide a little bit more maneuverability for both these squads. Circle Pops does go to the southwest. So Perfectic's going to come right back into Look at everybody stacked up on top of the center.
Yeah, and it's going to remain that way for at least another couple circles, it looks like, for sure. Pretty much about like 99%. That's going to be the case. Look at our 4AM boys. They found themselves a little bit of a prize. BRDM will be
là nè tàn trôi là nó
really
to
nice bit
nét
of
được
extra
có
protection. We
RPG
saw this BRDM be really
bắn
impactful
tích
for Team Liquid in the previous game where Luke was able to use that to get into the
đấu
field to
đấu được
survive
miền
a lot
pin
longer
đấu
than you
miền
normally
team
would in a situation like that. So looking at 4AM maybe try to
sẽ
replicate
ghé về
that
SE
success.
nó hay mua tiếp team ấy này
Legend just creeping in right back behind Team Liquid.
đấu miền phi team này là hay
Liquid does
đang
have
đấu
Halo
với
right on
team
the edge of the
port
zone, so they're just going to go ahead and let Team Liquid
OX
rotate in
đấu
front of
pi
them.
mà lấy pi
There's a couple of
lấy pin đấu
hillsides to
pi
play over here that should get you some distance away from Tai Lu, but it feels not as good as you want it
phải
to.
đấu
So a
chân
little
phải
bit
phải
long
chân
of a wrap over here in
phải
the
đấu
west
chân
could
này
find you a
port cái
compound that's
gì
going to be right
dạng
on
đấy
the
này
edge of the zone. Anyone's Legend, though, could have to deal with Nemesis that is wrapping in from the east as the slower approach coming
pa
from anyone's
vitality là
Legend
chỉ
could
cho
be
như là
punished.
pa vitality là
Oh, you're right. It is kind of their game, though. They're willing to take some fights out in the open.
Vitality miệng bay nhé này.
Meanwhile, Vitality trying to thwart 4AM from pushing in this direction, and maybe 4AM, even with the safety of that BRDM, feels like, oh, we should try something a little bit different here. Your biggest concern, of course, when you're in the armored vehicle is that there's just a Panzer waiting for you.
Ôi lại ní OX gán này.
Meanwhile, teams are just going to light it up as much as they can to weaken it as much as they can for the later stages. Empty, getting a lot of damage in there. He's protected by his own vehicle. Not sure how much longer that'll last. Just wants to see how much exactly he can find.
This doesn't feel good. There's no easy approach here. The jumps out, does get the knock in the flush on.
Trời cả bánh kia ơi. My brother, what are you doing?
One side, R8 on the other, and even Levante.
OX đổ mà lệ cái bánh mình.
R8 does manage to connect. That's going to be easily picked up, I would imagine. Well, not easily. He's got to kind of curve it over the top of the hillside, but I don't think that R8's going to be able to chase that too efficiently. They got way too many problems in front of them.
Yeah, right now R8 is in a very precarious situation. Twisted Minds as well, starting to angle in this direction. So 4AM's BRDM very much not safe anymore. A little bit of damage done as they pop up over the hill. Example, retreat back to the safety of his vehicle, which has taken a bit of a pounding itself. Perfectix have a little bit of space where he can take a moment to regroup and recover, maybe look for some armor. Indeed, that is exactly what he's looking for.
We've got all of Nanqing that's essentially supervising this firefight that's going on between some of Vitality, 4 Angry Men, R8, and Twisted. So it is going to be Shadow as well as Full Sense. Super's mostly focused to the south as they've got Geekay that's next to him. That's what's led to this really awkward rotate for all these guys over here. Having to make more commitments on top of each other. And Levante continues to find more onto R8. This is going to be bigger and bigger for Vitality the longer it goes because Vitality's got so much control over the West.
Yeah, I'd like to see Twisted Minds strike right now. They should. Levante going to clean up a couple more there. And here comes Twisted Minds.
Ôi Vitality 4AM đánh bánh ạ.
They are trying to take them down. Shen is taking a bunch of damage, and he has in fact been knocked. And there's a ton of util still in the bags here for Twisted Minds as we cycle through some of their players. I saw a lot still available.
Vitality had to surrender the position with Levante, so they're going to go back to their high ground where they have Quizzy at. Also still have Hello My Bad providing some supervision, but it's Twisted on the manhunt right now. They know where R8 is back behind him. They know that 4 Angry Men is weakened in front of them. Hello My Bad's going to be taking the shots right at 4 Angry Men in front of him on one side, but here comes the rest of Vitality. As 4 Angry Men has nowhere to go, they're going to have to run up this hillside, but good shots. Dude, Hello My Bad down to his belly.
What's the escape valve here for Hello My Bad, or is he just really stuck? Is there really no hope? Just trying to fight through and see if he can at least get that was a knock from Levante, an example. Gonna steal that one for his fourth of the match already. Twisted Minds now under pressure. It's Shadow Esports, the previous game winners, looking to see if maybe they could take down your defending EWC champions here. Sets it up. Charge at it. Perfectix able to get away.
Not gonna get much out of it, and this is gonna make for a terrible position. That rock propping right up in front of him. Twisted's going to wrap around the other side. There's no cover. Setsuna in a ton of trouble. He's going to go down.
You decide a wrong one, bro.
Empty on the other side.
Vậy đó, cô bánh kìa. Cô bánh kìa lại mình.
Okay. Grenade dodge there by Hansi. Example though, go for the second layer, comes up just a bit short. Hansi again making the move. The tab slides on into the smoke, seeing if maybe he could get a little lucky and find Hansi hanging out inside of there, looking for safety, but some of that terrain going to be affording him that form now. It's just a matter of can he do any more damage before he goes down, it feels like.
Twisted just racking up the kills, eyes on that ninth one, spots it out, Tab's going to pick it up. That is a massive kill count already for Twisted, and they have to go to the circle yet again. Can they avoid the Danching firing lines is the real question. They either have to wrap into that or the Levante hillside control from Vitality.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure how it'll all play out. So we have 0-4 who somehow managed to get out of that building. He was stuck in. Credit where credit's due. That was not an easy stop for him, but he is just as much in trouble. It feels like it doesn't look like he's going to get caught by that Molotov. Fortunately for him, that'll afford him the opportunity to try to go for the first aid. Has the smoke for a little bit of cover as well stayed. Looking to just spam through and try to get a little bit lucky, but still has a bunch of frags in the bag.
This is so throwing off Nimbus's control over the circle too. The longer he stays out there, finally do manage to take down Petrichor Road. Now they have to deal with Tyloo in front of him on one side, Myth to the north of them. Circle does them favor, though, pops away from that southern area of control, and everybody in Danching is breathing a sigh of relief. They were terrified that they'd have to rotate away. But now here is the firing line coming up from Vitality, as Twisted still has nowhere to go to get into the circle.
Team Vitality kind of bolster their defenses here, so they're going to reposition. Hello, my bad. Was able to regroup with the rest of the team. Into the front lines, and yeah, Perfectix getting absolutely lit up by Quizzy. The grenade is good from Levante. Twisted Minds trying to regroup. Perfectix is getting away from the but those follow-ups almost got him.
Smoke. I mean, Levante is just playing out of his mind right now. That solo player that he was trying to get so much control over the north. Still coming over there. Of course, the rest of the squad providing a ton of support. It looks like Vitality's realized it's going to be hard to make this cross because just down this hill is going to be where VP's got full gatekeeping control on it all. Quizzy's going to lead his way in, trying to see if he can get a knock on anybody in the smoke. No, but Levante does spot an example.
Well, they kind of revealed that there was nobody in the middle of these smokes, and so they're trying to now figure out if they can get anything else done. The tab's going to pop through, and he's looking for the player. He's going to get him. Levante down. Rex, though, actually gets the knock, and Perfectix taking down Hello, my bad. Perfectix the only one left now for Twisted.
All right, so Perfectix, you're going to run next to VP, who's fully stacked. You've got Supers, as well as DK, just even touched the circle. This is going to be brutal. Down to the south, it is explosions galore. Nemesis is eliminated. Anyone's Legend managed to spawn their way into the circle. Now Team Liquid, the odd squad out, trying to figure out how they're going to get in. Well, there is a focus of orders right on top of Tyloo.
Yeah, this is Tanvu. Almost gets the knock there. Or the flush, excuse me, on the house skirt. Just coming up a little bit off. Another one. Does he have any more available there?
Look at this cross. We've got Anyone's Legend defending one side. Team Liquid with nowhere to go. BP doing a great job in the defensive territory. Mortar still raining down right on top of Tyloo, but Team Liquid, they don't have anywhere to go, so they send right into it. They're on the hunt for kills. Jump out and trying to find what's going on, but no, Lee on the outside.
Liquid. That was huge, and this is a good timing from Liquid, but Lee was unaccounted for on the outside. ATL as well, looking at his VPs, angling into this fight too.
Okay, so Lozzy with one side, Liquid on the other. VP
you got the wrong position. ATL ក៏បតក់គ្រាប់យកបតក់យកគ្រាប់បែកមកទៅអូនគ្រាប់បែកមក
and they are doing just enough to stay alive. That stalled out VP, but VP's now turned their focus looking into Anyone's Legend.
I mean, it's just a timing thing right now, and there's enough protection for Virtus Pro
VP
that they can rain damage into some of these other teams. Look at what they've created for themselves with this little that they have on top of this hill. That's going to be Purdy Curdy going down to Nixie's grenade. Himas is backpedaling because he's realized he has stepped out into Virtus Pro's firing line, and he is in trouble.
Oh, there is nowhere to go. Everybody's gotten too entangled over here, but VP has more space to work with. The circle's popped, and it's moved away, gone a little bit further over to the northeast. So Anyone's Legend can try to step away, but it's such a barren circle. There's nowhere to really go. Anyone's Legend knows that they're going to be walking into a potential crossfire that has now been set up by Myth, who's got some of their players in Danching, but has Scappy all the way over in the due east.
And I'm also looking at the Supers to try to make their way out from that very northern side. Gam trying to scramble in there to see what he can do about maybe rezzing Tanvu. Hong F keeping Baron pinned down. Baron does get the flush onto Duck Juice, so that's one player out of the equation for Gam. That blue zone, I don't know if that gets anybody. Luke 12 just got a double on the backside.
Myth has to be so focused over here. We've got Myth on one side, DK on the other. Danching has been abandoned by the circle, so that means that Supers as well as Full Sense have to fight their way in. And we still have this long standoff down here to the south with those names that you're talking about. VP trying to crawl their way forward, but Luke 12 has done enough to defend. Is Anyone's Legend going to try to pounce on this?
That's a great question, and I think this is a perfect opportunity. Luke here might have spelled the demise of Virtus Pro. Nixie looking to stick the revive. Looks like he will get it onto Correxy. They're safe for now. Clory's fighting tooth and nail to stay alive. He did take down Tanadol. Oh, Flash still alive, but very beat up.
Himas has just abandoned that firefight. He's sitting
game.
So there's going to be now somebody taking peppering shots, maybe on the other side of it. They've got to be careful. Scappy has gone down. That's open more territory. So suddenly Gam, who is fighting from the back foot, has some assistance from the circle itself, and Myth can't keep control over this angle. Gam's trying to fight their way in.
They're doing their best. They are holding on by a thread right now. The grenade, though, is perfect. Jacob nails it. Clory's out of the equation. And now you're looking at Myth afforded an opportunity here to go for some revives.
Double res, full abandonment of control. They just need to get their players back up and ready to go. Full Sense has now made a push more over into the west, as it is going to be Supers right on top of DK. And Supers just can't find a way to get through this. Finally, at least gets one knock. But they have taken so many casualties on this push.
Yeah, they're not exactly sure where the players are, and they're trying to fish through the smokes to see what they can find. But right now, DK not offering up much. I mean, Park Pro even has a JS9 here ready to go. Oh, Heaven trying to run through. He's getting lit up as he tries to do so. Gonna be no opportunity for that Panzer to strike just yet.
GK bóng bánh thêm một team
Full Sense other side is waiting to see if they can jump in. Dancing around does get spotted. Songjon pops off the moment that he is needed. Big explosion. The Supers are eliminated, but now it is just Songjon, the last one up, and Full Sense is on the full push.
Now, what a play there from Songjon to use that C4. Won that fight for himself in what could have been a much more dangerous situation where maybe he goes down and it's Super still with the player up. Instead, Full Sense gonna try to see if they can claim his point, but Songjon, not an easy task. He's gonna go over to an AUG, it looks like, but Belmont has a Groza in this situation. Level 3 gear, that is so scary, even though Songjon has some level 3 gear of his own. So in terms of that, but he's as soon as he goes out into that blue, Virtus Pro is like, we know you want those.
Yeah, nobody down to the south can move. Myth has got control over all angles of approach. So VP, Anyone's Legend, last player for Tyloo and Lee, they're all just trapped over there. Even Songjon across the circle entirely. No way that he can step out. It's just going to be the firing line set up from Myth. And everybody that's trying to get into the circle, hoping that maybe Gam gets a good angle on him.
As for Songjon here, you're almost hoping that Virtus Pro is forced into a bad position, so they can't third party this fight here, at least given the fair 1v2. Going to use the smoke just to make sure that angle is cut off from his right-hand side. Waiting with the stuns. Throws one out of Full Sense, not really bothered by that. And Songjon looking to see if he's found the timing, and he's found a dip.
That is so well played. Realizes the moment whenever VP has to go, but VP is just going to send it right into the circle. That's going to put them in a crossfire by everybody. Was taking shots. Anyone's Legend, even Lee looked like he was trying to get involved in that. And suddenly now, VP, where do you go with just beam me out next to the blue?
Yeah, beam an expert salvager. Just see if there's any more scrap available in this game. Clory's. Yeah, that's. Oh my God, Clory's. That's so good. He's got a up here too. That's the damaging utility it looks like that he had, but Hwang F still had a little bit. Baron's trying to get up there and thwart him, but he can't.
There's nowhere to go. Myth has drawn so much aggro from taking shots at everybody for so long. It is going to be Clory's up on top of this. Spots goes for the big round side. He does go down. And that is going to be Gam Esports eliminated, but Myth is taking massive casualties. Anyone's Legends from the south.
A Myth, an opportunity to really assert their dominance on this lobby. Spot into that finals. I'm pretty sure they're already almost there. Lee trying to wait things out, trying to hide here from AGL. So sad. Delwyn gets the eyes and gets the prize.
Creeps forward, 10 kills. Pretty quiet from these guys so far. So how much more can you get out of it? AGAL not going to necessarily get too much more of the control of the circle, but they do have a mortar and they know where everybody is. Flash still being a distraction on the other side for Myth. That's going to be their focal point, and that could allow AGAL to have something happen here.
Gotta wonder if everybody else watching this game is hoping that AGL falters so they don't get further into the tournament, potentially try to keep them. Tough team to keep down, no doubt about it, especially you've got players like Himas, like Solalzi, Big brains like Delwyn
មកមាន3
in the team doing work and that
នាមសៀមទៅ FT នឹង mid ហ្នឹងអាហ្នឹងសៀមឯ AGL ហ្នឹងវៀតណាម
He's just trying to survive
ងាប់ហើយងាប់សៀមមួយ
is going to go to AGAL so another kill in
អានោះ
the
បត
bag as
ត
they
ងាប់
continue to stack it up
អានោះលេងម៉ូតាណាហេម៉ូតា
but how much more can anyone's legend get on the other side of it Myth at the top of the leaderboard right now at 44 points they got control over the northern section of the circle and did just get the knock on the Delwyn what more can they find
It's a good question they've at least temporarily made it a 3v3 and a headshot on to destroy forces him back behind the cover to see if he can get a heal off. Just a bit too far there with the mortars.
A little bit more.
Right now, AGAL not going to be able to recover their captain.
At least the focus on trying to get down anything going with Delwyn, get that flush, get closer, but as he's starting to try to just get into the circle, a couple of shots are coming his way. AGAL is pretty trapped over onto point. Myth has got that little bit of a lip coming into the road, and they just keep peeking right underneath of, I guess, what is it, the railings that are over there?
Yep.
That is such a brutal angle to try to hit. You have to be so exact.
But we know AGAL can play that.
For sure. This can come down to a situation where, you know, AGAL's players just hit some really nice shots or maybe Myth kind of overextends a little bit. Right now, you're absolutely right. Myth definitely has a favorable position compared to their opponents, but as the circle begins to close in phase 9, that can change the dynamic of a fight rather quickly. AGAL vehicles there. Not sure if there's any more mortars left in any of the trunks or anything like that, but smoke's going to have to be deployed here by AGAL to try to survive this.
I mean, there's a bit of a lip that they can try to get to just on the other side of the road, but you can see that Myth has got so much control, just denying anything over there. It's just more to the northwest is the weakest angle of defense that Myth has got set up. So a little bit of a ridge to creep forward a bit more, finding something. Looks like Himas going to hop in a vehicle, try to do the same thing. They're not going for a lot. They're just trying to get enough to get some angles on the other side of it. Looks like Kiss trying to go for a counter move on it. Does move across through it. Scabby trying to get nade range. They're starting to come out both sides. That nade's going to get some damage, but
ooh, that grenade. Oh, that was almost a really good one. You will at least destroy the vehicle of Myth there. So you're keeping a pin if this grenade hits.
I've never seen that happen before. Myth was about to be in so much trouble. That was cooked so well. Anyone's legend just trying to creep forward, but Scappy on the defense has to keep an eye up so long as he's going to go down. Finds one.
Himas trying to get through here, throws a stun ahead. They didn't know he was coming from that angle. Kiss takes a couple down, but Himas in response isn't going to be able to hang on, and Myth is going to take the game.
Big game from Myth, so cleanly played, but Himas right there at the end, taking it down into a 1v1.
Woo! That was fun. That was a lot of fun. That last fight was on a knife's edge between those two teams. Could have gone either way, it felt like.
That's why I love PUBG International play. So much technical movement that's going on. Realizing the fact that Twisted dead for what? 3 circles at that point, and absolutely nutty game from them.
I mean, understanding that they still need to maintain that aggression, keep those points, you know, see if there's any way that they can get Lou back in the mix. If they're playing like this, with that kind of confidence, just imagine what this team can do at full strength.
Where do you even want to dive into it? I mean, AGAL coming alive down in that lower section. This is why so many people have such big expectations for him. He's just such a great player. It feels like sometimes it's just so inconsistent, man. If he can find a way to consistently get like these 3 or 4 kills every single game,
អាហ្នឹង depend លើទី1 ធម្មតា developer មកគឺគេត្រូវអ្នកបង្កើតការប្រកួតដូច Mobile Legends ចឹងគេអ្នកបង្កើតការប្រកួតហើយបើចង់ឲ្យការប្រកួតកាន់តែច្រើនតើតើមាន community tournament បានន័យថា community tournament ហ្នឹងបានន័យថា tournament មួយទូយដើម្បីបង្កើត resource បន្ថែមទៀតបានថាបង្កើតជាមួយនឹងធនធានយើងនៅក្នុងស្រុកបន្ថែមទៀតហ្នឹងចឹងអាហ្នឹងគេបង្កើតធនធានរបៀបហ្នឹងចាប់ដើមពីអាទូចទៅអាធំរបស់គ្នាមិនអាចធំយកហ្មងហ្នឹង
but since then they haven't really been able to kind of muster much, so let's see if they can start to bounce back a little bit in these last couple games. We got 2 more to go today.
Oh man, it has been absolutely crazy through all of this, and see kind of what's happening off that last round. Myth, of course, with a big game, 19 points. Anyone's legend back behind that with 17, but Twisted Minds not even touching placement. Just off of kills are going to be in 3rd place.
Oh, that's That's incredible, dude. That team just never ceases to amaze. Every time you come to an event and Twisted is there, you know they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. GK getting some points, Gam, Full Sense having some okay point accrue, ability to accrue points in there. Super still kind of weird.
Well, we've been talking a lot about what's going on with Twisted and everything else, so let's go ahead. I think that Barney's got himself Batulins down on the stage.
That's right, we are here on the main stage with Batulins here from Twisted Minds. An impressive day so far. I've got to say, let's quickly touch base on Toffees. Had a chat with you earlier today to discuss your kind of team alterations coming into today. Give us an update from your perspective.
Well, so we have been informed just before the tournament start that we have to play with the coach because our player's not here because of visa. And coach didn't play for like
នៅក្នុងហៅ Booyah
3-4 years. I don't know how many
ដល់ពេល
years.
អាវៈចុងក្រោយ
And feel
ឡា
like
តាម
we
ប្រេ
still
ទី
managed
លើ
to know
ពៀន
how
បា
to
ទ
play the game, right? Because
បាទ សូម
feels
អរ
like
គុណ
we're
សូម
actually
ជម្រាបលាពៀនខ្ញុំ
playing
យក
pretty
ទៅ
well.
ហើយ
I hope we're gonna do better and better like every game. But I'm really happy. I'm really happy. We didn't expect anything from today, and like, we are kind of good. So, yeah.
You should be happy, man. And let's talk a little bit in a bit more detail about those games, right? You've had 2 top 5 finishes in the first 4 games.
ENC នៅក្នុងការប្រកួត ENC មិន EWC ណា
Look, you're on
នៅ
edge
ក្នុង
of
ការប្រកួត
zone. It's a really
ENC
difficult scenario. You're
វា
not
សាយ
really
ក៏
gonna
វា
be able to
ដាក់
get
ដែរ
into the center.
វាសាយក៏វា
So
ដាក់
from
ដែ
your
រ
perspective, is it just
វាអត់ដាក់តាម
let's try to
Mobile
farm as
Legends
many
មួយទេ
kills
ព្រោះវា
until
ដឹង
we
ថា
go down because it
វា
kind
សា
of
ហ្នឹង
feels
បើមាន
inevitable
ខ្មែរ
at this point.
ខ្មែរ
And
វាយ
you
វា
managed to
វា
get
នឹង
12
ដាក់
kills.
មុខហ្មងវានឹង
Yeah,
ខ្មាស់
I would
គេ
say
ហ្មង
that this game was a classic
ចឹងគឺ
Twisted
វាដាក់
Minds
ទេ
from, like, FPP era. Like,
តែ
we
វាសាសេងអីក៏វាមាន
literally,
ដែរ
like,
អ្នក
sold
គ្នា
the circle. We knew we
អានេះខ្ញុំអត់និយាយអ្នកគ្នា
not
ដឹង
gonna
ខ្លួនឯង
get
ហើយ
there
ខ្ញុំ
anyhow.
ជើនិយាយ
So we
ថា
just
វា
decided
សា
to
សេង
farm
ស្អីគេខ្លះ
everyone, and
វា
we
សាអី
did
ក៏វាមាន
very
ដែរ
successfully. So I'm just
តែវា
very
សា
happy with what we
Mobile
have
គឺវាអ
done.
ត់ដាក់ទេ
No, it's been pretty impressive to see so far. Like you said, the expectations might have been slightly lowered because of your situation.
អានេះ
You
Twisted
guys are
Minds
making
គ្នា
the best
អា
of
នេះ
it. Finally,
រុស្ស៊ី
before I
មិន
let you go,
នេះទេមិន
let's
ពួក
talk
អា
about your
សៀមទេ
experience,
Twisted
your
Minds
history as a team. I kind of looked into it. You
This Twisted
and Lou and
Minds,
Perfectus have been playing with each other since 2019. What's the secret? What is the secret to maintaining this level of consistency over such a long period of time?
អីក៏មានសៀមដែរអ្នកគ្នាតរមើលខ្លួនឯងស្អីក៏មានសៀមដែរ
Like people,
ភាគច្រើនមាន
hardworking
ច្រើន
people
ខ្លាំងមែនទេ
found each other, and we had the same goal for like the whole life. I mean, it already feels like
CS
a
ក៏
life,
មាន
you know?
Epic ក៏មាន
Yeah, we just managed to work and
CS
work
មានអ
and
ត់
work, and I guess
CS មាន
some good results helped us to stay
CS
together.
សង្ស័យវានៅ
Yeah, and
ក្នុង
just
តារាង
the same mindset. We keep staying together, and we keep playing good. You see. So yeah, that's how it is. I don't know, like it's not often, right, in esports when team stay together for
Epic
such a
មាន
long
វាទៀត
time, but
សំខាន់ Epic
we do so,
Epic
and
Legend មាន
I'm
វាទៀត
happy that
Epic
I'm in this team.
Legend មាន
We
វា
love to see it, my friend. And you
Dota
know what?
2ក៏
You've
មាន
done so
វា
well so far. It's only day 1. There's so much more
Dota
to
2
play.
មាន
But at the same
Dota 2
time,
ក៏មាន
it's
វា
incredible to see what you guys have managed to pull out of the bag in day 1, especially
X
in your
ក៏
current
មានវា
situation.
ដែរបាទ
That's
X ក៏មាន
Batulins
វា
from
ដែរ
Twisted
X
Minds. We've got so much more PUBG action coming your way right after this.
X តែវា line តែវាវាយ qualify ឡើងមក
Built to move.
ដឹង qualify មិនអាហ្នឹង
Trapped at a desk in one singular posture.
វាអត់ដាក់តែ mobile ទេព្រោះវាដឹងថាតែមក mobile យើងវាយវាយកអាហ្នឹងឌឺវាប្រាប់ពុកខ្មាស់គេ
ខ្ញុំចង់ឲ្យក្រោយយើងលេង PUBG Mobile ឲ្យច្រើនដែរដើម្បីមាន tournament តូចៗទៅធំមើលទៅខ្ញុំឃើញមានតែ MBL តែមួយ
Mobile Legends តែសារតែអ្នកលេងច្រើនហើយ developer គេបោះ league ឲ្យយើងតែមាន league មួយវាមាំហ្នឹងគ្នាតែមាន Pro League មួយវាមាំហើយនិយាយទៅតែស្អីក៏ដោយឲ្យតែមាន Pro League ដាក់ម៉ាំងវាមាំនៅស្រុកខ្មែរហ្មងវាមាំនៅហ្នឹងហ្មងយ៉ាងនិយាយទៅណាទេឲ្យតែមាន Pro League និយាយទៅ developer ផ្សេងភាគច្រើនមកគេមើលម្លងអញ្ចឹង
I'm with Andy here in the crowd. Hey Andy, how are you doing, man, so far?
Yeah, really enjoying the games. It's really an immersive atmosphere. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So I want to know from you. Let's go for
ប្រទេស
today.
វា
Who you think
ធំ
is
ដែរ
going to
អ្នក
do
នេះ
well
យើង
so far? You've
ត្រូវ
seen a
ទទួល
few
ស្គាល់ហ្នឹង
games here
ប្រទេស
and
វាធំ
there.
ដែរ
So what's been your thoughts about some of the teams that
តែ
have
យើង
performed
ក៏
so
ខំ
far
ប្រឹ
as
ង
well?
ដែរ
Who
ឥឡូវ
you're rooting for?
ប្រទេសយើងកំពុងតែជោគជ័យដូចគ្នា
They've been taking
okay, guys.
really aggressive
តែយើងកំពុងតែជោគជ័យទៅមុខទៀត
in a lot of fights and they're climbing up the leaderboard, so I've been really impressed with them.
នេះខ្ញុំនិយាយស្មោះត្រង់មកខ្ញុំ
VP do a little bit better.
ខ្ញុំបារម្ភមកវិញ្ញាសាអ្នកនេះខ្ញុំបារម្ភមកវិញ្ញាសាដែលទៅសៀមអាចនឹងវាយយើងឌឺយើង
Absolutely. Have you
តែ
been
នឹងយើង
have you
ជាមួយ
watched
ចាក់
a
ស្ដែង
lot
ខ្ញុំ
of
តន់
VP wins
តន់
from
ហ៊ាននិយាយ
before? Obviously they looked really good at
គាត់
some
ថា
of the
ខ្ញុំ
PGs.
ទៅមើល
Is
នៅ
this
ក្នុង
not so
ENC
good at some
វិ
of
ញ្ញា
the
សា
other
ក៏
ones?
មានដែរវាអត់ដាក់តែ Mobile Legends មួយ
They were dominating some
វិ
of
ញ្ញា
the
សាវាដាក់ដែរ
PGs
អ្នកនេះ
obviously since
វិញ្ញាសាអីក៏វាដាក់ដែរ
yeah, I've been really impressed with what they've been
វិ
doing.
ញ្ញាសាអីក៏វាដាក់ដែរ
Yes, they do.
វាអត់ដាក់តាម Mobile Legends ទេ Mobile Legends វាហ៊ានដាក់ទេព្រោះវាខ្លាចខ្មាស់គេខ្លាចខ្មាស់យើង
Your predictions in just like Andy has. Myth leading to here were phenomenal. They were spectacular. Not only the two-time PGS now champions, but also one of the most dominant results of all time. They are so good right now that if they can continue that on here at this Esports World Cup.
ទៀតអត់អីចាំខ្ញុំមើលតែខ្ញុំមិន live ទេខ្ញុំអត់ live ឈប់ live ទេព្រោះ live copyright ដល់នេះ
รู้สึกว่าตอนแรกไม่คิดว่าจะได้แชมป์แต่ก็รู้สึกพอได้แชมป์ก็ดีใจ
តែ expand ហ្នឹងយើងមួយសិនយើងបោះមួយជំហានម្ដងដល់
เชื่อใจกันแล้วกันแล้วก็คว้าแชมป์มาได้ครับ
អញជឿមើលមុខហ៎ដូចមកឆ្កែ switch មួយសិនគ្នាចាំអស់ពីអាសម្ភារវាចាំមើលមុខចាំមើលអាផ្សេង ENC ហើយនឹង MSC ហ្នឹងតែមួយមិនមែនអត់ទេ ENC ផ្សេង EW MSC ផ្សេងហ្នឹងទៅ research Google តិចដកមុខវាចោលធ្វើមុខព្រោះឯងចុយមែនប្រទេសវាមិនមែនអត់ qualify សម្រាប់ENC ណានេះឯងប្រកួត qualify ENC ដែរតែវាអត់ចូលទេវាមិនចូលរួមតែម្ដងងាសាស្អីវាដាក់និយាយទៅមានអារម្មណ៍ថាអានេះចិត្តខ្ញុំមានអារម្មណ៍ថាមួយគឺវាអត់ដាក់វិញ្ញាសាណាដែលវាចាញ់ខ្មែរហ្មងវាអត់ដាក់ទេព្រោះតែដាក់យើងវាយវាដួលវាបាក់មុខវិញវាប៉ោលមុខហ្មងទោះជាវិញ្ញាសាវាមានច្រើនជាងយើងក៏ដោយតែវាអត់ចង់ឲ្យវិញ្ញាសាដែលយើងមានព្រៀបលើវាអត់លេងមួយយើងទេវាតែលេងតែវិញ្ញាសាណាដែលវាមានព្រៀបជាងយើងមិនវាលេងចឹងបើយើងទៅវិញ្ញាសាណាដែលវាមានព្រៀបជាងយើងដល់វាមានឱកាសវាយយើងហ្នឹង Foundation EWC ENC the same but one play for pro team one play for country ញ៉ាំបាយហើយអត់ឲ្យចាំចាប់ពួកអាសៀមសម្ភារសិនចាំយើងទៅមើលភាសាទៀតអមស៊ីចាប់ដើមខេតណាខេតពីរៀង EKF អានេះគេណារ៉ាតារ៉តិទីងនិយាយទៅ PUBG ចាប់ដើមម្ដងបន្តិចអ្នកនេះកុំសូវចង់ហក់លោតពេកនិយាយទៅអ្នកនេះធ្វើអីក៏ដោយកុំសូវចង់ប្រៀបធៀបខ្ញុំមកចង់ឲ្យប្រៀបធៀបរបៀបថាអូយប្រទេសចេះប្រទេសយើងនេះប្រទេសយើងនោះប្រៀបធៀបវិញ្ញាសានេះវិញ្ញាសានោះយើងកុំប្រៀបធៀបចាប់ផ្ដើមហើយចឹងមកខ្ញុំឲ្យអ្នកនេះចាប់ផ្ដើមថាចេះចាប់ផ្ដើមរៀនលេងឲ្យបានច្រើនវិញ្ញាសារៀនមើលឲ្យបានច្រើនវិញ្ញាសារៀនគ្រប់គ្រងឲ្យបានច្រើនវិញ្ញាសាក៏បាត់របៀបអូយហ្គេមហ្នឹងខ្ញុំអត់លេងហើយខ្ញុំខ្ជិលមើលដឹងមើលទៅអីបងហ្នឹងចឹងរៀនមើលច្រើនវិញ្ញាសាឲ្យគ្នាស្គាល់គ្រប់វិញ្ញាសាព្រោះនៅពេលដែលមានវិញ្ញាសាក្នុងប្រទេសកម្ពុជាយើងអាចគ្រប់គ្រងបានលើកទឹកចិត្តគាត់បានហើយកុំសួរថាថៃមិនមកវិញ្ញាសានៅប្រទេសយើងតិចម្លេះបើយើងគ្រប់គ្នាអត់តន់ស្គាល់ថាវិញ្ញាសាហ្នឹងអីអត់បើកចិត្តទៅលាយទទួលយកហ្មងអ្នកគ្នាខ្ញុំនេះឲ្យគេ respect ខ្មែរអស់លុយអត់មានលុយទេ Asian Game នៅជប៉ុនធំ Asian Game នៅជប៉ុនហ្នឹងគួរសមធំមួយកម្រិត ENC កម្រិតធំជាងនឹងទៀតសុំ correct score pro មកអត់ correct score ទេក្រុមខ្មែរមិនមកខ្ញុំទាយមកខ្ញុំវិភាគទេអាហ្នឹងខ្ញុំនិយាយម្ដងហើយម្ដងទៀតបើមានក្រុមខ្មែរលេងនៅក្នុងការប្រកួតណាក៏ដោយគឺអត់មានមកវិភាគមកវិផោញទេគឺ no វិភាគគ្មាន prediction គ្មាន analyst ខ្ញុំធ្វើជាអ្នកគ្រប់គ្រងលើកទឹកចិត្តគាត់តែប៉ុណ្ណឹងឲ្យតែមានក្រុមកម្ពុជាយើងលេងកម្ពុជាយើងវិញ្ញាសាណាក៏ដោយគឺខ្ញុំលើកទឹកចិត្តអត់មាន prediction មុននៃ correct score អត់មាន
Yeah, we're continuing, by the way, with players. We just talked about case. We heard the piece too with Polaris talking about if they can be contenders. Honestly, right now, they're keeping up with Myth. They're keeping up the performance that we saw out of them in PTS 6. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to stop them, at least so far.
At least so far. I mean, I think we've seen some cool things from teams unexpectedly, right? Like Shadow. Yay, Shadow! There's teams that are catching us off guard with how well they come out here in the first four, but I think in some of these teams' cases, like Shadow, they're going to get eclipsed tomorrow by the teams who are showing up. Possibly the worst day of their life tomorrow is sort of my guess here. So they need to keep grinding forward because teams like Twisted Minds, you're like, oh, they aren't doing great in the first game. They come out.
Yeah, and for all the squads too, especially for the squads that are in the A group, they need to make sure they start performing. If you're towards the bottom, because tomorrow will be the last day. You're currently sitting with 8 games left. I mean, actually, I did the math right. 8 games left. Sir. That's all they have. And if they don't start performing, they're going to make it even tougher, and they're going to just be biting their nails on that last day when they're not playing.
And the hard part of that is you have to set your standards. You don't know what you have to do if you're not playing the last day. So they have to really have good day 1s and days 2s to make that work.
All right. Well, you know what? I think we talked enough. I think it's time for us to go back. Claris, take it away from us. We're going to relax and enjoy the view.
Thank you, boys. Yes, of course, I found the tall people to join me here. Thanks very much, guys, for growing exponentially compared to me. We got Godspeed, we got Avenger here to talk about what's gone on so far. We just had our Rondo conclude, obviously, here with Myth looking amazing as always. Godspeed.
I mean, Myth is just making the case to be the best team in the world this year. Honestly, I think so, especially coming off of that incredible PGS2 Cup final win. I mean, the sky's the limit, especially with Kiss coming here. Just, so good.
Get the control that they had, and then Kiss just clutching it up, to be honest. That is just next level. 2 wins, a second place, 52 points in 4 games. That is insane.
Yeah, they're really good here for EWC. Let's talk big picture, though, and see kind of what's going on right now, because there's some teams, obviously, that have surpassed our expectations a bit, and some that really need to have that step up now.
What happened to VP? They started the tournament so well. And they've really kind of floundered the last 3 games, Martin, and that's not really something we expect, especially with the consistency. You've got Nix. What's going on? 3 games
you're running into some funny stuff on Taker. We have one more Taker coming up here in the 5th game, of course, here, so let's see how they approach that. I understand the way that they're approaching, taking space away from supers. They're always aggressive in taking too much space around Godok, and they're looking to create that space around Youngchung to have an entry. So I understand it was great. You run into Liquid, Nixie was alone. I don't think they expected the retaliation that fast in that game. So I'm excited to see here what happens in the 5th game and on our 2nd Tago of the day.
I talked to a lot of people, and they're one of people's favorite teams to watch because they do those kinds of things, as you're mentioning, around Youngchung, around those areas, etc., and things like that. But is that sometimes a detriment? Are you sometimes being quite fancy to the point where maybe you're in too many conflicts? What do you think?
Yeah, it's the saying of doing too much, right? They don't necessarily need to cut rotations that much if they don't have to. Something that I actually really liked that AGAL did was setting up on that south side, and that's when we actually saw VP go for that. I don't want to say it was a send, right? But they had options. You and I were talking about it. They could have either gone west. They could have even taken the fight to AGAL, but because of that spread also, and because I think there was one member left to solo in between, they just decided to go for that send, and it just, again, it's just doing too much. It didn't work out.
I want to talk a little bit more about AGAL. The first 3 games, 3 points here, 11 kills, 2nd place. They could have won this game as well, but they didn't. So far, I don't know if it's nerves. Maybe a lot of pressure on them. They're here in the club championship as well. They're trying to put themselves in there, but yeah, it's not been the magic that we have seen. They've been, they've had 2nd place. They had top 3 positions in our PGSs throughout this year so far, and they can compete this time around. They just need top 16, and right now they've been struggling until this game.
I'll not make a question, I'll make a statement from this one about AGAL, because I think, as Godspeed is saying, I think the position that they took here on the south side of Rondo, technically the control that they had across the area was fantastic. It does beg the question, though, allowing Myth to be able to even make that transition across the road, to have that smoke set up, and have what seemed like no utility.
Việt Nam lại đánh bánh chanh xiêm mà nè ơi, vụ Việt Nam đi on man này.
The big problem was you should have been informed that late game losing Del when he took space too early.
Mùi smà, mùi smà. Nó biết rút tí, rút tí nè, bánh bánh cái tư, rút tí. Nó biết rút, chắc bánh chanh kìa, biết rút nó kìa, biết rút từ họ smoke.
And the one thing about that push is even with limited utility, you saw that smoke on the tree. I think you even called it out that allowed, I'm not sure if it was Kiss or someone to get across in order to get the shots on AGL, which is actually what won them that game.
Well, let's take a look at everything that's going to be coming up as well here, because we've got tons on the way. We've already had ourselves Team Liquid and almost the back-to-back, but of course it was sandwiched in the middle of another win here coming on forward. 2 more games remain though today. It's not the most common map order that we actually go to here in a lot of our days. I mean, in most circuits we actually play 5 games a day compared to what we have for the 6.
Yeah, this year's been updated to 5, and also we've seen so many times where it's just back-to-back. You play 2 Wrangles, you play 2 Miramar. Here it's spread. Yeah. Now we go back, of course, we played Tego before, but it's disjointed in a way where the players have played so many games before, and you can't really go back-to-back with that. But sure, they're absolutely ready for this, but another Tego and another Wrangle. It's going to be good.
All right, we are going to head on over. We are ready for our 5th game here. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Time to head on over to the commentators here. Game number 5 on the way for day 1.
100% agree with what the desk is talking about there, about how, like Claris was mentioning, that it was Myth that had to move into the circle by going over a road with no cover on it, into a defended position that AGAL had. I mean, at this point, we often talk about like these completely open circles being barren circles, but are they Myth barren circles?
Is that on purpose?
It wasn't.
Oh, you're nailing it today. I missed this, Matt. I missed this. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of unsure a little bit of the situation with the utility, exactly what they had left in the bag to make that crossing, because one of the Myth players we saw didn't have any smokes left, but they had just enough to get the job done. Really well highlighted there by the analyst desk on a really crucial piece of information about that battle, as well as AGAL had a few frags left that they weren't able to connect there in that last fight to really make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, Myth could have potentially kind of hung back, still used that cover where we were talking about with like the railing up next to the road and continue to press that direction. But instead, they saw the opportunity and jumped forward instead going for more of that central control as it presented itself. Yeah, AGAL, they didn't have as much cover to work with. They were probably burning out a lot of their utility, and they had a whole bunch of firefights going into that. But I mean, it was still just Myth control for so long, because let's not forget, they were the team that was playing They were the one that was also corralling all the teams up there. They had to deal with GAM. Nothing inside that circle was moving without them having some say-so.
Absolutely, and they had to fight to get out of that fight up in the north. I mean, it was on the precipice for a while of them potentially crumbling, and who knows, maybe it's GAM in that situation instead. You know, something like that could have come through. So absolutely, just it shows the level of this team right now, that they have great firepower, they have great teamwork, great coordination.
I still remember that moment with Myth where they just decided to not keep control over what was going on. They had 2 players knocked, and then had both players commit into a at the same time. You don't often see that happen inside of competitive PUBG, because you want to have somebody keeping some control, making sure that nobody runs up and tries to drop a nade on the person that's going for the res. And they were just like, nah, we got it unlocked. We're just going to go ahead and hold it. I have faith the fact that we'll just blind res both of these and nobody's going to come for us.
Sometimes you got to gamble, right? Like, and that's the thing. Like, that's the beautiful part about PUBG is they gambled against them. Like, oh, it's true, they did. See where
បាទសូមចុច record មកស៊ី Pro Sport ប៉ះ SRG ថ្ងៃ23ម៉ោង 4 ចុយអានេះលឿនពេកអ្នកគ្នាមើលមកស៊ី Pro Sport ប៉ះ SRG ថ្ងៃ23ម៉ោង 4
Right? Like, whenever we look at squads like Twisted, we're always talking about, like, what's the upper scaling whenever we look at what the squad can accomplish. Myth is still getting that stage that I don't know really where they're going to have to stop that, because it feels like there's always something new in the bag that they're bringing out.
Exactly. I mean, it's so fun to watch them progress. Like, back when they're natural, we didn't have the highest of hopes for them in some of the tournaments when they first started making it to the global level, and we're like, yeah, okay, they're from Thailand, we know that they've got some crazy fraggers, you know. APAC, we all know, all players are cracked, we know. But it was like the evolution of the macro game for them that has led them to their most recent successes.
They went from being one of those fun underdog stories to just being a dominant. And it just continues to find more. And I'm starting to be a bit afraid for this lobby, because whenever you end up with essentially on one side and AGL on the other side of the circle, wondering why we're not seeing much out of VP today. Well, what do you do when you're trapped in that?
Yeah, right. I mean, SEA is dominating today. I mean, 3 out of the 4 games
មាន
that we
ទិញ
played so
ទូរ
far
ស័ព្ទ
have been
ខូ
won
ច
by
ខូច
them. Team Liquid.
All right, so we keep talking about Kiss Magic, right?
មាន
Specifically
ទិញ
with, like,
ទូរស័ព្ទ
Lawrence
ខូច
mentioning
ខូច
going around. If it's Kiss Magic, does that make him a Cupid? Or like, what's the mindset of it?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
A cherub?
A cherub, yeah. Well, a succubus.
Now you just made me imagine kissing like a succubus outfit. I don't like anything that you just did to me.
I'm sorry, not really.
All right, guys, it is time to tango. The map is up, and you can see plane path coming in from the southeast, ending up in the northwest. So, of course, everything opened up. Unless you want to go for a little bit of a walk over next to Husan Prison.
Yeah, this one pretty fair-ish, but cutting off some of those western landmarks.
អាមេរិកចេះស្អី Japan ចេះស្អី ការ 42 record សំឡេង គ្រាន់តែគេសួរ Pro Esport លេងថ្ងៃណា មិនក៏ PUBG អត់មានខ្មែរយ៉ាងនេះ PUBG កុំព្យូទ័រ bro អ្នកគេលេងហ្គេមមែនតើគេគ្រាន់តែឃើញ map គេដឹង map ហ្នឹងកុំព្យូទ័រឬក៏ mobile បានទេ mobile ក៏អត់មានខ្មែរដែរ EWC mobile ក៏អត់មានខ្មែរដែរខ្ញុំអត់ដឹងមិនដែរហ្នឹងដឹងគេ qualify មិនអីមិនស្អីដឹង
Early positioning on circle is going to be great for VP. They get an inside track. We have kind of seen Shipyard be a little bit below some of our circles here lately, but Myth's going to be over there making the wrap into position for that. Down to the south, that's Twisted Minds territory already off of drop. So this is a very hard circle for a lot of these teams to try to figure out where they're going to want to go because you're having to deal with Twisted, Myth, and VP already in the circle at the start, going wherever they want.
I think that immediately leads my eyes to Shadow Esports. What are they going to do? Because Twisted has been very aggressive here today. In fact, 3 out of our top 10 players in terms of kills right now are on Twisted Minds. So you're looking at one of the best teams in the lobby right now that is completely surrounding your drop spot. Very, very scary stuff. Actually, I think you're looking at this thinking, okay, we have really good access towards that shipyard area you were just talking about. You can maybe control that bridge. For a potential worst case scenario pivot, things like that as an option is going to be pretty nice for GK as soon as they can get there. But they're kind of late to the curve right now. I can see 4AM already ahead of them in rotations potentially.
4 Angry Men needs to do something. 4 Angry Men and Supers in 13th and 14th place respectively is mind-boggling to me. This is like the 4 Angry Men from last year, where it just felt like they would go into a position and then get picked apart slowly before they managed to find any kills. This year, it's been a much more active 4 Angry Men, finding big successes, really leaning into their firefighting capabilities, but they just can't find it today.
Yeah, it has been a little bit, other than the one game, the last Tego, so maybe this time, you know, we'll get to see a little bit of that redemption for that team. And Twisted isn't going to clamp down on Shadow too much. They're letting them go. This example begins working towards that northern edge of this mainland to see what is available for Twisted to scout.
Myth is still in a 2-2 across both sides of the river right now, kind of south of Shipyard and to the southeast of Army Base. They've got to be careful because 4 Angry Men is wrapping in back behind them. Looks like the more eastern duo is going to go for the bridge cross. I think that they were a bit hesitant, afraid of the fact that there might be a bridge camp. We have been seeing a circle leaning over into the northeastern area around Shipyard several times this year, and I think that they were expecting somebody to go for it. But instead, VP was going for a 2-2 split a bit more over into the west, keeping Yongchun as well as the foothills under control.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It felt like Myth was going to see if they could get away with taking a lot more space than they should be allowed to across both sides of the river, but going to have to regroup onto the other side. Men will be claiming their unoccupied space that was left over by Myth as they take in the view, looking over the river, just trying to figure out how Myth is setting up their defenses on that side.
We don't have too many squads there doing this eastern wrap. It's been 4 Angry Men as well as Twisted. Petrichor Road's also kind of over here, but they're not really moving too much. DK looks like they might be going for more of a wrap over as well. It's been a lot more on the west as far as approach comes in. And speaking of approaches, it's going to be Athenadol finding a couple of bolts coming his way in the glider. Full Sense was playing around Army Base, so they're just going to squeak their way into the foothills over in the east. That's going to put them pretty close to Myth as well as VP that we were talking about beforehand.
Yeah, a lot of these teams need to be active in the scouting department this game, so having the glider really nice, and why it's maybe even more important than usual is because of that river that runs down the kind of middle of the circle. I mean, yes, it's more likely to go less than not in terms of just available land mass maybe, but it is still very much on an edge, especially with the fact that the new circles can kind of do whatever they want. So you're in a position where you've got to be making sure that you're tracking a lot of different options to get across that river if you're going to be anywhere near it. So you have the ability to find a way through and understand the defenses that you're going to be facing and how to plan for them when you get there.
We can see that, of course, VP had Yongchon. They left it. They went into the foothills. Team Liquid actually went for more of a position in Yongchon itself as well. You don't see too much of a commitment actually come into going for like a couple of these buildings that are inside the city itself at this stage. Yes, they do also have a couple of players that are playing more to the north, but this is a little bit of a safety net that it feels like Team Liquid's starting to play from. And for a team that's been pretty active as far as most of today has gone, this feels a bit more safe than we've been seeing. A lot more firefight-heavy Team Liquid has been the way to go so far.
Yeah, and I think this is smart when you're coming in a little bit later to this circle because it gives you some options, hopefully in terms of you have some safety of the buildings themselves. If you have to go north, you've got control of an edge of that area of Yongchon, so you have the ability to go outside of there a little easier than you normally would, and then if a team comes from underneath you, you can keep track of them a little bit better, and if no one comes underneath you, you have access to that southern bridge for free to make the faster rotations.
Got a couple of rotates coming in. AGAL going to be on the western side of the island itself, kind of wrapping in that Yongchon territory. Nemesis very far up to the northwest. This is, thank you so much, observers, what I had my eye on. Vitality wrapping in, using the dried out riverbed to kind of creep their way through. But GK still has Songjon that's going to be on the opposite side. Not too much that he's going to be able to aggress for, but this is stop off for gas, where Petrichor Road hasn't gone for too far here. Like, the Petrichor Road itself has only been probably like, what, 100 meters long that they've had to go inside this game. Vitality might be expecting more people to be playing closer to the coast, so they need to be very cautious over here.
That's exactly what they're doing, and this is really where my eyes were starting to drift on the map. Is GK very late to these rotations, but going to be watching 4 a.m. players mosey along towards the safety of the shipyard. So that actually kind of makes things a little bit more difficult here for GK because you're kind of ceding control of that bridge for a cross to the west if the circle shifts that direction, and you're going to have to go for plan B, which may be looking to a different bridge potentially, and that's very scary because as we can see on the map, Twisted Minds is going to be the team that's currently guarding the eastern Yongchon bridge. Vitality, there you go. Yeah, they're being extremely cautious. That last game, I think, where we saw them lose a player early to 4 a.m.
But look, they stopped. They saw the lines. Emergency pickup has been called by Petrichor Road.
Oh, God.
GAM is on the other side of this. They may spot it as well. So it could be two different squads. This is the opportunistic Vitality. This is what I love about these guys. Sitting in 6th place right now just due to making stuff like this find out and work for themselves is... Now we've got eyes onto a rotating GK. We're nowhere to go. The circle pops, and it is going to go mostly over to the island. Here comes the helicopter. Are we going to get any shots coming up from Vitality? They're going to get a couple. Looks like they at least managed to get one knock.
I'm quite shocked that this is going that well for them. I think just Mingming gets onto the helicopter as far as I can tell. Everybody else still on the ground there for Petrichor Road, and we have a ton of teams making their moves in towards the circle. There is Twisted right on the heels of Shadow.
Okay, GK is going to be coming up back behind this other side of the bridge. GAM already going to be ahead of Petrichor Road, and what we saw with Vitality. Vitality taking those shots at Petrichor Road is kind of stalled them out, and that means there's going to be a ton of squads all stacked up here. Let's even throw a red zone on to make it even more spicy. Shadow's got to defend up, but it's going to be Twisted. They'll take the shots at the rotate from GK back behind them. Doesn't find too much, just a lot of damage, but enough shots go back to make the cross on the bridge.
Losing a player to R8's bridge camp. This is on the other direction, but right now GK trying to get to an area of safety, and the coasts of Taego really do offer you a lot of safety. There's quite a bit of areas where there's rocks and ledges, and in this case a dip that you can work with.
GAM keeps trying to make this work, and it's just like slamming their head against the wall every time they try to go. Twisted doesn't have anywhere that they can go because this 2-2 split coming up from Shadow. Team Liquid's mirroring that. Of course, we had VP also retreat back over here a bit more, so Twisted doesn't have a lot of territory that they can work with, and that means that GAM has no way to make a cross. They're just stuck over there, and now it's going to be them and Mingming just kind of chilling with Vitality, the only squads that are not on the island yet.
GAM has to wait. There's no other opportunities right now. All the other bridges are either contested, congested, or blocked, and they are watching from afar as we do have a res onto Himas, so AGAL able to avert any disaster there. Here's that play. Gedrox watching it go into the air, and he's going to get the Levante. Actually gets in there and gets the final hit, but lots of damage done. If you hit this, oh my God, that would be absolutely mad. Doesn't get the M24 to go, but nice little play there. Nice little setup by Vitality as well to keep it hidden
While this is going on, Gam's trying for their third time to cross the bridge. I think that Twisted's now given them enough space to maybe make it happen. So they're doing their mad dash. R8, you can see, is going to be dealing with Team Liquid very close. AGL is going to be back behind them. A couple of shots coming out from Team Liquid to force R8 onto a different territory pathing, but there's actually nobody playing this area kind of to the rest of the circle in the hillsides. It's entirely open over here, so R8's going to find that for free.
Yeah, this
is
pretty okay
find
if kind of realize it and see it to fruition. Yeah, well, I mean, why not? You know, just to take what you're given.
The red zone provides.
That's right, the red zone does provide in this case. Sungjong in a really tricky spot early on when Gam was able to get them to halt in their tracks, and that's a really nice angle into this next circle now for Gam that is going to be blocking GK.
Okay, Vitality, you've got to cross the river most likely, but you can hang out over there with Ming Ming. Ming Ming's at least happy that he has some of his peninsula still in play. Tyler's going to have to make rep in from the north, as well as Nemesis. R8 that found that hillside open now has to make their way back down into Yongchan. GK is going to be kind of defending up over pretty close to Gam. Gam's going to have nothing to do with it. They're going to go ahead and make a send across over right along the coast. So they're going to be cutting right underneath the twist to try to use the coastline itself. A follow-up is going to be coming up from AGL. Same pathing. The timing on it's going to be pretty good because you can see that GK was trying to get their vehicles a bit set up. Now, how far does AGL want to go into this? As a couple of shots might be enough to deter them. Maybe it's time to get some kills.
Well, this is really awkward for GK because they were thinking about making a move behind Gam, sort of backfilling that space. It's opened up the door for Vitality as well. Players on Tai Lu starting to crumble. Full sense as well. Having a little bit of trouble. Beamy
Tai Lu nó đôi chì
chân. If he has anything to respond with, Tai Lu struggles here continue today. They've only got 2 left standing, and they're trying to get the hell out.
I mean, where do you go? It is just a gauntlet into another gauntlet. You're going to pass this section. Congratulations. Now you get to deal with Gam. If you keep going, you get to deal with Vitality that's managed to make their cross over here. There's just nothing to be had. Nit is going to be able to find one, and it is just Tai Lu down to 1 dragon and 1 life.
It may not be for much longer, I would think. Duckjuice cooks the grenade, just needs to find the mark. It bounces right on his heels, doesn't get quite enough damage, puts 1 dragon down to half health. He's gonna let go of the grenade. That's anywhere near Duckjuice. He would have been knocked, but apparently didn't quite get there.
Just having to use the other side of the rock. Be careful. Twisted here's the Spire fight, seeing if maybe they can third party on it. They can't get too involved as they don't want to step out of their covered positions. That's going to be enough as it is going to be Lucarux who hits the shots onto 1 dragon to take him down. Oh, and Mortars. Everybody was like, hey, we saw you make that rotate. What, 4 different teams were taking shots at? 1 apiece?
Yeah, they all know where that was going down, and they were hoping to be the ones to claim those points. Lucarux with the M249. A little bit of a flank control mission here, and he has Beamy ahead of him. A little bit more outwardly situated to watch the flanks. Well, they're going to try again.
Yeah, the first time didn't go so good. And they're all going to drop on the crates that are out inside the water, so they might be able to find something over there. AGL making a wrap across the hillside, so congratulations. You can deal with Supers, Team Liquid. If you go the super side of it, which is the way you're kind of pathing, you're also going to have to deal with Full Sense as well as VP.
Imagine if this goes east.
Just imagine. Petrichor Road would be laughing so hard. Remember, they're coming in as they've got nothing except for those crates. So this is glory to be had for them, except for Gam and Vitality are having to play the coastline because there's nothing left to play.
Exactly. That's the real issue here is that there is fortifications set up there on that edge, and getting over there is going to be very, very dicey, to say the least. AGAL trying to escape disaster. The Cowboy up and over the top has 1. Can't find another. Delwyn going to keep him pinned back behind that hill. Alo looking for the other angle.
Delwyn kept Sololzi alive there. The damage coming up from Cowboy almost too brutal to deal with. Got to be careful, though. It's going to be AJ that spots out and gets that finishing knock on to Cowboy, though. So Team Liquid has to be careful. They've got R8 back behind and take them shots while they're trying to push up the hillside. Now they have AGAL in front of them on the other side. AGAL has to be careful because they're getting shot by VP on the counter flank on this one. VP's just got a great angle into it. AGAL is trapped here.
Yeah, Sololzi's vehicle is not in a good state to say the least. Just him and Delwyn left alive, trying to throw some smokes to buy some time. Maybe see somebody else could get some damage into Team Liquid and open up a little bit of safety to them. Delwyn is going to scramble to destroy to just barely get there in time. Meanwhile, Petrichor Road is trying to cross the river, and it is not going good, as you can see in your kill feed. So this fight continues. Cowboy back up and running.
Team Liquid better be careful. R8 actually just managed to leapfrog, taking shots all the whole time from Shadow. They've gotten right down below the southern section for Team Liquid, so this 2-2 split starting to get pulled in too many directions. Now what do you do? Luke 12 is gone down. Cowboy's got it thinned up. Delwyn's got the nades prepped. Do they have any idea where it's coming from? Looks like he does, but it's going to go too far down the hillside.
This is still very, very dangerous for Liquid. That was Nixie getting some damage in there too. Delwyn is trying to get a little bit further forward, has to use a lot of stuns. Cowboy had repositioned. Are they going to be ready for that? Salalzi looking for anything, but every time he tries to move out of that rock, he is just getting absolutely peppered from multiple different directions.
Cowboy can't retreat. There's no angle. He's just kind of stuck here. Team Liquid's trying to support. They're dropping a couple of more. The position coming up from R8 just threw off all of the timing. So it is going to be defended position coming up from Team Liquid, who now has to figure out how they get in the circle while they have to deal with VP as well as Shadow. And Cowboy has just been isolated for so long against AGAL. Finally, Alo does have the angle to approach and provide some support, and it is right in the face of Delwyn.
And they absolutely needed that. Cowboy trying to go out into the blue and almost paid the price to see if he could get the knock. Barely able to get on through, but here comes the reinforcements.
That's a big knock onto Delwyn, who is on the high side of the hill, destroying a little bit more trouble. Flank position is getting complicated. Delwyn's going to go down off of that push. So Destroy has to try to see if he can hold enough time here to go for the res. You can see Delwyn's trying to get over there fast as possible, but Luke is playing right up, using the smoke on the peak of the hillside. No fear. New circle pops, and it heavily favors VP.
Luke here can't quite see where his opponents are. They do have the res through, but it's going to be the instant re-knock from Luke 12. Alo smells blood and wants to finish the job. He takes down Destroy, and now Salalzi out in the blue. Absolutely screwed.
Okay, what do you do? Blues are going to be the tail end, and Team Liquid handles a terrible storm, keeps all 4 players up and alive, but now the new hurdle is going to be getting into the circle. To the north, it's going to be Supers, who've been taking a fight with Nemesis for a very long time. That should make it easier. So said managing to get the knock, and a quick flush might provide some opportunity for Team Liquid to get in the circle.
Yeah, the Supers were fighting full sense up there a little bit as well. I saw in the kill feed, so it's been kind of a slog here for them. They've gotten a couple kills, but certainly not what they're going to be looking for from an edge position where they've been kind of scrapping back and forth for some time. So looks like for now they're going to peel a little bit further back, realizing that, yeah, Nemesis is in a stronger position overall in terms of numbers, in terms of what kind of terrain they're able to work with. You've got VP underneath you. This is scary.
Here's the push coming up from Team Liquid. VP's just got a complete angle. You can see it down on the mini-map there, just getting demolished on approach. But they did at least manage to get over. DL just trying to get his armor a bit better in position, because this is all Team Liquid has to work with over here. GK also trying to get in the circle just to the south.
PUBG PC nó lôi là Mota miền PUBG đấy tận độ rồi. PUBG mà đặt bề ngoài chỉ lan đặt bề tụt vô.
With Vitality and for him, but let's take a little bit of a look at. Oh no! Right off the door. Nowhere to go there. Nice stuff from him. Park Pro in trouble. They're trying to make a crash onto Shadow Esports, and for now they're holding the line.
A lot of aggressive rotates. You saw that Supers came down from the hillside fast, just cut through the middle of anything. They're on the other side now, distracted. Twisted Minds going to be now looking that direction. DK kind of forcing their way through, but Shadow's doing such a good job on holding the line. Akan's going to go down, get flushed. DK can't find any angle of approach onto this, and we still have Jexy just waiting with the Panzerfaust on the other side.
Okay, here comes Team Liquid. They're sending it right down the hill. They need to do some serious damage into the backside of Shadow Esports. Curdy's going to stay back as an anchor, and this is exactly what's happening. Alo, a quick one and done there. On the other side, Curdy has to throw some smokes and go for the heal. I'm not sure if that's VP who was shooting at him or what.
Shadow thought that they had this on lock for so long, and Team Liquid saw an opportunity, and they exploited it. EJ on one side of it, and it's just full trap. Nowhere to go. Nice bounce around. Tries to go for the stun. EJ doesn't get too much more out of it, though. It's just looking back before him, and now it's going to be Shadow on the defense. Finding what they needed, but they still have to deal with Team Liquid to the north.
Well, EJ hit himself with that stun more than he did his opponents, and he had no idea where they went. Sungjong nowhere to go. A Panzer ready and waiting. Shadow Esports deal with their now to their north. Four-man strong Team Liquid still looming, still lurking. Luke wants to do some more damage. To try to lead the way, but not really able to make a breach. And Jexy,
good angle right down. Spots out Alo, connects. This forces Team Liquid to run right in the building. No other options. This is one of those circles that's now populated. It's just time to get killed. Cowboy, Luke, they know it. They've just got to get whatever they can get and fight the whole way. Shadow jumps down right on top of him. Spots out Cowboy. Shadow popping off right now.
Kamal's found the perfect timing there. Didn't have his gun out, did Cowboy, had util in hand. Nothing he could do in that scenario. And that is so beautifully read there. Maybe heard the pin pop on the nade and went for the push. Luke 12 now trying to hang on to dear life. Birdie Curdy completely pinned on the outside, but he gets the knock on to Jexy. Luke, he's got the job done. Team Liquid gets Shadow out of here.
I wouldn't say job done yet. That's task done. Now Blue Zone on top of him. They still have to get into a circle that is in complete control by Gam as well as VP. They're going to have vision of days on this circle. Myth over into the northeast, also going to be dealing with Nemesis on approach. I mean, kudos to the squads that have been able to creep into here because we still have 30 alive in the circle, and it has been a bloodbath firefight.
And speaking of bloodbaths, this is just absolutely brutal. Nemesis and Myth have absolutely wrecked each other, and Myth in another spot where they have to start going for reses. Diffex wants to finish it, and he will. Just barely able to keep Myth from going any further in this one.
Man, that is just a clutch moment. Can he get anybody back up? A couple of shots going to be coming out. Gam's a bit more focused on watching what's going on with Four Angry Men right now. Vitality also jockeying up position very close to Twisted Minds. So it's just going to be Ideal still alive with the supers, but he's been kind of distracting the other side of this 2-2 split from Twisted.
Kind of wonder if
VP
are aware of each other's positions there. Batu, we saw earlier, he had a bolt action in hand, and oh my god, gets double headshot. HS getting involved and finding that knock at the very least. Vitality, a grenade barrage on top of them from Twisted. And this is a pretty safe position for now for Twisted. It's just a matter of what does DL want to do in this scenario? He's been phenomenal for the Supers this year. They're top fragger globally, and that's a great grenade for
Twisted Man.
Just so well done. The Twisted day that could have been bad, just constantly getting better and better by the moment. Second place, 47 points. Just 3 points ahead of Team Liquid, who's just clinging to life right now, so big opportunity for Twisted. Gam still just trying to counter move alongside of Four Angry Men while Twisted is watching it all.
Oh man, and Perfectix just picked up a P90 to boot. This is just getting scarier and scarier for everybody else here on this southern side. Clear 4 a.m. here, but that's only one player so far. Spaceman dead, but still the big danger players of Shen HS. And as we've seen today, Winda pretty darn good in his own right. And if they can just hold the line here at 4 a.m., Twisted Minds actually gonna have a bit of an angle there. Now the grenades connect.
Kurt's going to get taken down by VP, who's trying to get into the circle, so that's going to be Team Liquid now
VP
eliminated. Okay, so Four Angry Men just continuing to get madder and madder by the second because they just they need every single kill down here. It's them, Nemesis, and Supers, and 13th, 14th, and 15th respectively. And when you have it, Twisted Minds looming large on the circle just to the south of you, it's got to start being terrifying. Gams had to retreat just pretty much on top of each other.
Yeah, I mean, literally, your only hope here as Gam is that somehow Nemesis and 4 a.m. get in a fight and they kind of deal with each other and you're able to hang on. It could happen.
Right now, nowhere for Nemesis to go except for right into 4 Angry Men. The profit.
Yeah. just, I mean, I'm more hoping from Gam's perspective. I'm like, please get 4 a.m. off of us.
Oh, no, while this is going on, VP is taking control of the northern section of the circle. They're right along the road line. You can see them coming in on the mini-map down there. That means that half the circle they're going to have on lock, and everybody else is going to be fighting for the other half of it. That's going to be brutal to deal with. 4 Angry Men just nothing to be found here as DL is going to get the knock onto Beamy at least. That's a interesting situation going on over there as Nemesis going to continue raining down cars, nades, and whatever they can throw right down on top of anybody hiding out from 4 Angry Men.
These are huge salvage points from DL, but Batulins will finish off Diffix. Nemesis doing some damage to 4AM. Pretty sure, yeah, he has a P90 and an AWM. That is an awfully scary combo for a player of his caliber to have. Long F trying to put some damage down. Shen weak but not out just yet. The digging continues and the grenades getting into there. Getting the knocks onto Gam, who are now seeing Twisted Minds start to come through. That grenade, oh my god, it almost rolled in.
So close. The bottom half of our leaderboard from 8th down, it's just a couple of points across most of it. You can see it's going to be 22 points at 8th place right now, and all the way down in 18th at 15th place. So every single point that you can get as 4 Angry Men survive is just going to continue to shoot you up. Now up in 8th place, creeping up. VP in control over the circle on the north. Twisted in control to the south, and it is just Shin and DL kind of caught in the middle of it all.
Here goes Perfectix making the run here. Using some of that level 3 gear to absorb Shen's damage. The Molly is going to come up a little bit short. Doesn't matter. They've got too many angles. He is down and out, but a nice hold here from 4AM.
Tab finds the kill. Man's a gamer. Finding everything over here. So now DL has kind of forced 2 players for VP to come chase him down. That means that they've had to surrender most of the control over the circle just to deal with this. Double up blue zone nade, still not going to be enough as DL is just a cockroach over here, man. He will not go down. Finally, they managed to get him, and VP had to surrender a lot. Can Twisted take control?
Yeah, Molly even came out there and caught Nixie.
Oh, bạn ấy Twisted bắn em rồi.
Keeps things
mà
in a 3v4.
Lần nơi trong hồi ấy.
In a huge advantageous position right now. A lot of control with that edge that dips down just slightly to the south, giving them a nice angle, a nice little ridge to play over. Corexi does have a rock, but that's outside of the next circle, so he has to make a move. The only player inside the circle currently for VP is Lucarux. Nixie looking for a flank angle, seeing if he could sneak his way around the side of the road, get on that southern edge. There's a hill that he could work with to sneak under, but this is, oh boy.
That's ambitious. Can he get something out of it? No, he's going to get instantly dropped. Nixie's also going to get spotted. I think it was just maybe a hope that it could be enough of a distraction, but that's 2 down. Poor old Corexi all by his lonesome up to the north, and Perfectix has a really good idea on where he's at.
Yeah, they know exactly where he is, so at this point, it's just a cleanup operation for Twisted Minds, who are doing unreal things today. They are going to claim the win.
Oh, you can see Batu so excited. But I mean, Twisted, man, this is, you heard from Batu himself. This was supposed to be a day that they weren't expecting anything out of, and it is just working. Everything feels like it's clicking. They're finding big kill games. They're now finding victories. I would start being scary for the squad.
No, I mean, it's just, it's like a well-oiled machine for them, right? They're just so smart that even when you have to kind of trade a player in or out, they have a system. They execute so well. They have the best micro, the best macro, the best everything you could ask for.
I feel so bad because VP had control over that circle for so long, but all the fighting was happening on the external sections of the circle. Nobody was really pushing into the area that they had control over. They could supervise fights. They could get a knock here or there, but it was so hard to find the flushes to really get much more out of.
Yeah, and it was really DL as well that did a lot of damage. So let's get a listen in to the end of this one. Just another day at work.
Yeah, you can see that they're so stressed now. This is pretty much qualification zone feeling pretty good for them. There's still another day of play, but stretching into that, they've already got the momentum out of it. You know that there was stress. You know, you heard it from Batu in that interview. We found out right before we got here that we were going to be playing without one of our core players. The expectations were just shattered, and so if anything, this is like finding $2,000 underneath of your bed while you're cleaning or something, and you're just like, this is the best day ever. I didn't even know that this $2,000 existed.
I didn't think the Tooth Fairy was real. I didn't think it was real.
Well, go ahead and get ourselves set up for this next game because there is still so much to play for.
Anh bên trên phái rồi ha.
everyone is playing, you're not yet. EWC Play is your all-in-one platform to compete in fantasy, pick'em, and quests for a grand total of $300,000 in prize pool. Build your dream fantasy team in 5 different games and track your score with live results tables. Predict the winner of every game, every group stage, and every tournament. Complete daily and weekly challenges to earn boosters that help you climb the global leaderboard. Got what it takes? Join EWC Play now.
All right, Lace, we have about 4 hours until PUBG kicks off, so is there anything you want to do today? I think we should hit up Kadia City Grid and maybe I can go and tell all my problems to a pro player. You do that every year. Sounds good. Let's go.
EWC đó sơ sát.
That was really fun. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. The game's on.
She didn't make it in time. That's what happened. She didn't make it in time.
With glitter.
With all that stuff happening though.
អរគុណអាចចុយម្រាយសម្រាប់បុកលុយ4រៀល
We'll talk about some of that cool stuff that we might be able to do later because right now, Twisted Minds being able to overcome any adversity that they had to do with today, they're currently putting up the points and getting the wins.
Right? Getting wins in lieu of not having one of your players is absolutely wild to me, especially to see Tab coming out this strong. It makes you wonder, if Lou shows up, do they just leave Tab in? Because they are playing incredible. Like, this is a team with a sub, man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you still want Lou, right? But the fact that Tab comes in, right? He hasn't played in a long time, especially at this level, right? I mean, we know he was good. He is a good player. Just coming in and filling and just still dominating, and that's a Twisted Mind thing. But that also goes to show you how strong that core 3 of Twisted really is.
It kind of gives you a backup too. Now you actually have a solid backup, somebody that was your coach. If anything happens throughout this tournament, you'd be like, you know what, let's put him in. One team that was actually able to bounce back in this last match for Angry Men. We saw them being able to start off hot and then they slow down coming into this last match. When we were looking at the overall, they were in 13th place, but now with this top finish, I'm actually excited to see where they end up in the overall when we get a chance to look at that. But for this squad, this is what they need.
Yeah, and remember guys, we're playing for essentially top 16, right? You just need to make sure that you're qualifying in the top 16. Anything after that is just academic, right? And so these guys coming into this game, 4AM kind of had a couple good games early, squandered a few opportunities in game, I think 3 and 4, but came back strong in this game, Steve.
I think the issue is Winda had a couple of good early games. What we need is the entire team to step up and have those big games to move deeper into this thing. Another team that stepped up is Team Nemesis, as they got 4th in that one. This is the team. I think somebody jokingly called him Navi 0.5. But they are a team that, like, I was like, oh, maybe they'll fire up more tomorrow when they look across the aisle. But here they are setting a standard. In fact, before we walked out in the green room, I heard Martin and James, who watch them play, who cover their region, say, what are they doing? Why aren't they putting up the numbers? These guys is a good team. And then they did this, which is good.
Yeah, and they absolutely nailed it. Another team that I actually want to talk about is VP.
Okay.
VP had a great first game.
They did.
They had an amazing first game. Game 2, Game 3, Game 4. Not so much. But all of a sudden now coming back and finding this game, Nixie getting rid of DNS and Supers being able to make it into this final against Twisted. Again, this was a massive boost because they were slipping. They were, it started the day really in top 5 and then they top 8. What's going on? They're right back up there.
I mean, if anything, this was really outside of Twisted Minds in the last 2. Like, these are teams that needed to make those moves, right? The fact that Myth has slid a little bit, Liquid's not showing up here in the top 4 for this one, that's good news for everybody who's in the race going forward. But again, it just comes back to Twisted Minds, and it's kind of, it happens so early, it almost makes me sad, because it means we're going to be talking about them for the next 6 days nonstop if they keep playing like this.
Talking about those guys.
I know, but they deserve it, right? Because these are the statesmen. They won here last year. I think it was devastating for them that they did not give the performance at PGC that they wanted to. Last year was the year to pull the double. This could be it again with the way they're playing to have a Can you imagine? Okay, can you imagine having a chance to do the double in back-to-back years? Like, that is not something that almost any pro gamer gets a chance to do.
When you get a chance to start the tournament with the sub, not with your actual roster, you know what? I would love to see that. And so far, you've been pretty spot on. Earlier, you talk about Shadow Esports. Now with this Twisted, I'm going to keep track of all this stuff. Toffees definitely know what you're talking about when it comes to PUBG Battlegrounds. For some of the other squads as well, I want to talk about squads that need to actually start being a little bit more consistent. We saw AGAL being able to perform well, but in this last match, the consistency is just nowhere to be seen at the moment.
Tell me more.
Go in. Come on, Godspeed. You know you want to.
There's a few teams that I think are underperforming right now. Okay, I think definitely Supers. Even though we do see DL here with 2 grenade LMs, we know how capable that roster is. But at the same time, again, Nemesis again is another one of those teams who I think could have a higher ceiling than the ones performing at. But yeah, Supers definitely. I'm looking at that team because they should not be struggling the way that they have been. Even though this is a strong lobby, I still think they should be getting more points on the board.
I still can't get over Myth with 2 wins in 5 games is astronomical, but then Twisted Minds, the team that pulled double-digit kills in back-to-back matches, is also one of those things when it comes down to averages. That's what we're looking for. These teams that can put 5 points per game together are on the long distance.
Or you want to talk about averages? Liquid has been incredibly consistent so far. I think they're currently still in the top 2. So, I mean,
one more game.
Liquid is a team too where they need that strong start. You and I were talking about a bit in the green room. Liquid has to have a strong start because if they don't, you can start to see things slip away. We've seen that multiple times at multiple events. But again, with the change-up, bringing in Cowboy, I think he's been a wonderful addition. Sparking shoes are hard as hell to fill. We just saw that at PNC, but Cowboy's been doing a phenomenal job. So I really like what Liquid's been doing so far today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Luke 12, by the way, when you're talking about Team Liquid, the one
Luke 12
another player that kind of pops out in my head is Luke 12. Every single match, I feel like we're being able to see him just clutch up points for his squad as well. Now, for some of the other squads, right, we're going to have Group B sitting out tomorrow when we come back. So teams like Twisted Minds, I believe they're currently in Group B. They'll be able to get a chance to kind of breathe a little bit, even though they're currently performing so well. And it's one of those teams that if you were that squad, would you really want to just sit out that one there? Would you just want to keep that momentum that they currently have?
I mean, I think they want to play the last days. The last days, for me, is what you want to have. But you want to know what you have to do to make sure you advance. And then on top of that, you don't know who's going to the finals, but if you're playing the last day, you can choose who goes to the finals in some situations. You can choose who you knock out or hurt so that you can have the spots you want. So I think that is one. They're perfectly happy to be on the last day, and I think the fact that they are is kind of bad news for everybody else in the lobby.
I think, and so Liquid was top 3, not top 2. How could I forget about Myth? But Shadow Esports is a big surprise here, too. I have to say.
Yes.
Shadow Esports is a team that I think none of us really had any crazy expectations for, but my goodness, have they shown some pretty good resilience so far in a group that you would argue AB group is one of the hardest groups we've ever seen. So
I'm going to be looking at Pretty Core because this squad, I mean, going into tomorrow, that will be their last day of Group A. They will have to do something here. So going into this last match, what are we expecting out of this squad? That kind of have to make sure something happens at the end of the day, Godspeed.
Look, Petrichor in the last game was in a very rough position on the east side of that circle, and they didn't really have a lot of great options. That being said, of the options they had, they still chose for some. They still somehow chose the worst of those options. So, and look, Petrichor is a team that this year has actually been much more consistent than we saw them last year, right? Especially when we switched the meta up. So them, 4EM as well. I think the Chinese region in general has been strong this year, but we're not seeing that right now.
I just think Petrichor's successes have been too dependent on we need that shift to come to us. And that's, I think, where they set themselves up. And I think that can work really well for one event, but is that going to work for the rest of your life? Right. You know what I mean? So this is a set goals for the future situation. Another team that I wish was doing significantly better is GK. Like, this is a roster made up of consummate professionals, right? This is like Korea's version of Liquid, just a bunch of old guys who've been playing forever and know the game, and they're just not stepping up and performing.
No, I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, when I came back into it, I was like, oh, GK is Korean now. Yeah. That's pretty interesting. And I looked at the roster and I was like, oh, those are really good players. But again, the performance is just not there. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because we're switching up the way the maps are working now, which, by the way, I actually like. We used to do the, double Erangel, double Miramar. We'll throw a Tego somewhere in the middle, then a Rondo. But it's actually been really great to see the switch up because it also gives the players kind of a fresh look instead of, hey, we're going right into another Miramar. We already know we're dropping it at Pagano. Like, it's the same set thing that you're dealing with. So I like the change of pace in that.
Yeah, at the beginning of the day, we were able to do kind of predictions too. We were able to pick which teams we wanted to. I'm not gonna put you guys on that spot. I'm not gonna make you just go blindfold, throw a dart. Now you guys really want to do it, huh? For everybody currently watching at home, you can actually select who you think is gonna be winning this next match. Make sure you go to the EWC website or the app and put in your predictions. Just pick them. Let's see what you got. Maybe they pick Myth. Maybe they end up picking Shadow Esports, which honestly we said no expectations, but after what Toffee's told me, I had high expectations for them, and they're currently delivering for me. But the game is ready, and I'm ready to see if my prediction is going to end up coming true. So let's send it over to Paper Thin and Matt Rim.
Thank you so much, guys, as we are on the last game of the day, and it should be amazing to watch. Remember, we do not have a last chance qualifier on this. It is just your overall amount of points between all three groups. The top 16 go on, so this match is going to be a pace-setting match moving in, as these guys are still going to have a 1 day of play each afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. So if you include this game, 7 more games to go for everybody. You're really looking to, have a good finish to the day. Set yourself up for your second day very nicely. Make yourself a little bit more comfortable. At least get into that grand finals. As we get a look at the plane path, not the most fair plane path, we'll say.
I was talking to Colaris and Venture earlier, and they were talking about this new modified drop for Twisted Minds, where they're making a commitment into Novo. So shout out to them. Whenever we look at a plane path like this, how beneficial it could be to make jump into that spot early. They're going to have inside tracks, a lot of different ways to go. So a squad that's been on a big come up, just continually building more and more momentum, even finding a plane path into an open drop is going to feel great.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is like kind of an interesting new wrinkle for Twisted Minds, and they're just doing fine with it. I think they could literally play from any spot on the map. They'll give them, level 2 gear, in terms of the armor and helmets consistently, and they're probably going to do A-OK, and that's not too bad at all for them from their perspective. R8 going to be in a nice spot there in Pachinki. VP very happy about their very fair position for sure.
Chewy is taking a couple of shots at supers, but this is just a dust up over vehicles on drop. It's a continued measure, right? Is most people want to just play for points of interest, specifically to keep control over vehicles. I would think that Chewy is just being a little bit spicy over there to see if maybe he could get a free kill out of it, but it should be supers being able to retreat to Rise just fine. Pretty much do center up circle should be A-OK for everybody. Coming into this, there's going to be a lot of open territory, specifically over the west, because right along over there, it's going to be field. So I wouldn't be surprised if most of our teams just continue in a more centered meta, as that is going to be where we see Potato Mountain kind of being the focal point.
Yeah, with kind of the chaotic nature of the circles now, you have to be kind of aggressive towards the center because every time the circle shrinks, going to have to keep some amount of that center in there. So you're at least hedging your bets a little bit as time goes on in some ways. But
what's great about Twisted coming down to Novo? We actually get to see Novo more now. Usually the teams that get drops, no offense, are going to be the teams that are getting round wins. So we don't get to see Novo down at Novo right off the get-go. So a little bit of modification could be pretty interesting. VP also has a very long stretch that they're doing over here kind of from the center out. The squads that I'm looking at going into this last game, VP and AGAL, I think, are going to be wanting more out of this one. VP is having a good day. I'm not arguing that. 4th place. Sure. It's more just, I think that VP was wanting to be closer to that 60-point line than the 30-point line.
Yeah.
AGAL, how do you not just walk a direction and start killing people in 5 points?
I agree. I think it's always kind of this weird thing with AGAL where they'll have some tournaments and they look like they're unbeatable, and then the next event, it looks a little scrappy. It doesn't quite all click. Himas is dying early here and there for some reason. Just not really able to get everything figured out. There's a lot of teams on this leaderboard that I really have high hopes for, and they're kind of in the middle of the pack.
I was talking to one of the players, and they said AGAL is the squad that tries to be so smart when they don't need to be. and I feel like that summarizes things so well. Like they'll make the play for the right position and do all this other stuff.
I want to guess the player.
It's mildly toxic, and I'm not gonna reveal mildly toxic conversations. Let that one go. Knowing the fact that it's mildly toxic, you can already have an idea.
I'm pretty sure I know. All right, over towards the supers, who we absolutely, I think, need to be kind of keeping our eye on this game because they really need to bounce back from a kind of rough day. 20 points in 5 games just isn't going to cut it in terms of what you would expect out of a team with kind of their history and caliber. Vitality as well in a good-ish spot, but only 6 points ahead. So from, you know, where the Supers are at in 13th to where Vitality's at in 7th is only 6 points.
But look at the cut line. Where we see Vitality at 26 points right now, it's only 7 points down to Nemesis, and that's in 15th place.
Trời anh bạn cho mua. Ồ, sạch bạn cho mua. Sẽ cho pick.
And they all know it. They all know
Mà
that they
thua mà
need
chỉ
just
check
a
cái
kill
bạn
here or
sai cho
there.
mua là cái
That
triêm
means
cho
that they
mua.
could be putting themselves in more vulnerable points,
Sẽ cho pick.
and then instead finding themselves dead instead of finding those 1 or 2 points that they want.
Well, you're already looking at this leaderboard, and everybody is starting to sweat. Oh, Teddy, not good, but Human needs this. The Supers, one of the things about the Supers this year when I was kind of looking through some of their results was that they don't get a lot of their points from kills. They're one of the few teams that's kind of like consistently doing okay-ish or has had some good results that a lot of their points come from placements.
That's all fine and good, like 2 years ago meta.
Exactly.
Whenever you got squads that be popping off and getting kills like what we were seeing, like 10, 12 kills a game for some of these teams. Just getting like
ចូល Facebook page MCG ការប្រកួតរបស់ TY Media Esport ថ្ងៃស្អែកគឺនឹងធ្វើការបើកឲ្យចុះឈ្មោះឲ្យអ្នកនេះអញ្ចឹងអ្នកដែលគាត់ជា fan MCG មកជា chess អីហ្នឹងគឺមកគ្នាយើងដែលកំពុងតែត្រៀមតារាងត្រៀមអីមកយកតារាងនោះមកប្រកួតជាមួយនឹង TY នេះគឺរបស់ TY Media Esport ផ្ទាល់ណាមិនលំណាលើកនេះ TY ធ្វើគ្រប់មុខហើយML ធ្វើអស់ហើយបាទ
You can hold an average 5 points per game.
ឥឡូវមកដល់ MCG ម្ដង
We played 5 games. They're at 61
10
points per game. That's double what we used to consider being good or safe. It is just so hard. And yeah, we're still in qualification stage, so
sure.
Okay, yeah, 5 points per game puts you right around 8th place, but that doesn't feel good.
I mean,
if it's a normal finals, I'm saying like, that's the pace that I look at for the winning team, right? Like if it's just like our normal, you play X amount of games, you know, if you're averaging 10, 11 points per game, then I'm looking at you as a winner. Pretty much like 90%, as long as there isn't another team that's matching that.
And look, I love
Vậy đó bánh hết đó sồn bay vậy đó nó ơi sồn mui này nghĩ đấy lụt đo cha ơi
you're finding stuff
lụt đo cha vậy đó lụt đo cha
finding position in the circle. They're taking firefights here or there. They're not the cleanest ones, but they are learning fast, and I love watching underdog squads that learn fast and manage to like really fix their mistakes game into game and just keep taking the curve up on their play real fast.
And I mean, again, I think it's just always a matter of time as long as a region continues to take things seriously and shows that they're willing to improve and has the the right players in the right place at the right time and the right coaches and everything. It will eventually happen that they will do some things. And today has been pretty good.
I'm a simple man. I just like bicycles, dude. There's something about it. It's just the sound.
I know, but I really want to like get the card on a laundry bin.
Yeah, okay.
Tôi chỉ con chứ này bánh bạc co lấy.
Let's look at our center circle right now as pretty much centered up is going to be around that position where our 8 VP AGAL are all going to be playing from. AGAL is running a 2-2 split closer to Death Road, but on the western side of Death Road. Petrichor Road's running a 2-2 where they've got themselves essentially Potato of Potato Mountain up on top, going down into those compounds that lead out Pachinki into the apartment's school area. Other strong positions, Super have taken over Pachinki itself, but a lot of our teams are on that kind of southeastern area leading into farm and whatnot, and the coastlines it provides. Just because that is the safer area, there's way more terrain to be played to the south and to the east than there is to the west.
Oh my god, just look at the map. You will know mobile or PC guy, please.
Up ahead.
Oh my god, bro!
Saw it on the very first Erangel, had a little bit of a dust up in this part of the map, but this time around it's actually Liquid on the other side of the river, trailing well behind Vitality, who is just going to drive around the Everest Mountain and move along the freeway, and a pretty hard shift over to the west. The Supers love to see them consolidate on the southwest side of Pachinki if possible.
Well, we got the map up. You can see where Duck Juice has already gone for the Pachinki hillside. Anything kind of to the west of that hillside and to the south is going to be mostly open territory.
Cho nên cái lên trần chung mấy chung TP rồi tầm xe man mà ngay lên chung TP đấy. Anh nó cao cũng xinh đấy, cao cũng mùi gì.
And more along the coast. What we're looking at is everybody's just going to have to cluster right on top of each other, and it's going to lead to a much bloodier circle too than we're used to.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can already see that Petrichor Road is getting involved with Full Sense, who's getting involved with R8, and it's just an affair on the outside of Pachinki. The Supers are moving their way outside. And Gam has already tried to fortify Belmoth out in a dip, and the rest of his team had to settle in and looking to maybe throw some smokes his direction.
Where do you go, Petrichor? Circling the wagons down in this trench, and that's about the best you're going to find. AGL is just going to be to the south of you. Full sense that we saw going around the Pachinki area. Looks like seeing if they can get back onto their res. Gam's going to have control over the fields to work with. Team Liquid and their later rotate's going to be just north of that, realizing that this is going to have a lot more friends over here than they were expecting. Nemesis is going to be on the other side of it. How much of a commitment do we see coming out from Team Liquid? As it looks like they are going to try to just brute force their way right up into Gam's face, and it's going to kind of work.
There you go. I mean, sometimes just a show of confidence is more important than actually having it. And sure, Team Liquid has both, and they're going to move in very nicely. And Gam gonna try a different angle. Tylo in trouble. What a grenade here from I2. He's looking to finish what he started, and easy money for Ming Ming to come in there, get the job done for at least 1 point.
Every single peak is going to be punished so bad.
Tylo eliminate một cái team này ngon một cái lâu rồi.
They're going to help out. Rap's going to be continuing in as it looks like 4 Angry Men going to be touching the circle. Team Liquid not too comfortable in position where they get pushed Gam away. Is going to stretch more along the north, leading into Pachinki in that little mini ridge line. Gam's going to have close-range friends that have been supers that have taken control over the compound just to the north of Pachinki hillside that can be quite strong if the circle goes there.
I really like what the supers did here. This is exactly what I wanted to see from them in the position they were at. Take a little bit of control there outside of the field. Get close to the side of that mountain. Set yourself up for potentially really strong late game if the circles get a little bit favorable for you. And even if they don't, you should be able to find some ways to get some kills here and there. You would think Nemesis just going to turtle on up. This is way on that western edge, just to the edge of the field and where there's a hill. On the outside of them with where I am.
The way you said where there's a hill, it made me think there's a way.
Where there's a hill, there's a way.
That's the secret to rotating in PUBG. Where there's a hill, there's a way. All right. Twisted Minds updated guys that are on the top of the leaderboard right now. They're in kind of not a great spot, not a bad spot, but they're kind of going over to the east. You can see the examples of going to be Shadow that was taking a couple of shots. Myth very stretched out in front of them, and this is what I was afraid of. That the circle was going to abandon the spot, and now they're dealing with a very gate-kept circle. Jacob's going to regroup. Shadow's going to kind of funnel them and keep them from going north the way that they wanted to, so it's going to be twisted all squads with probably the worst rotate.
Yeah, this is one of those circles that's, you know, feeling like it might end up in those fields, and it's kind of where everybody has to sort of hang out around the outside of it for the most part and try to just hold the line. Cowboy, a little bit of aerial viewing, and it's just not going to see too much out here. And he's doing a quick check of the field, maybe going to land, and needs a, I don't know what exactly he's looking for here.
Hey, dude, sometimes the grass is just nice.
You know, it's just safe out there at least.
It is. Just kind of chilling, vibing. Everybody else is so busy chasing the circles, you know. Involved in the rat race. Sometimes you just gotta stop, let your best fly. Really just go smell the roses, touch the grass, you know.
I was literally looking. I'm like, is there somebody body that's on the ground? He's looking to go for the blue chip. No, that's not it. Well, whatever. Shadow Esports in a bit of a crossfire there. Virtus Pro hitting into Setsuna. Setsuna, 34 HP, trying to go for some heals. Will just barely bypass.
Remember how we talked about Twisted over here? This is going to be kind of what they're going to have to deal with in a second. But, I guess Shadow at least getting inside track on position first, but where do you even go? Themselves in Vitality's crossfire. VP is going to have control over everything in the east. It looks like Twisted is going to go for an emergency pickup. That has been called, so that's going to get instantly picked up. Curious to see where they're going to go, as you'll probably see the helicopter path right now, pretty close to VP. A lot of mortars, I think, going after 4 Angry Men.
I think you're right. I'm very curious about Twisted Minds. What in the world they're going to end up doing here.
Not so sure, though.
The western edge of the field that's in the current circle might be an option, but Full Sense is currently driving in that direction. So if you try to parachute there, you might be just a little bit late to the party. Nixie gets out the protractor. Thinking about doing a little bit of geometry here. A squared plus B squared equals C squared there, my friend.
Here's the rotate talking about from Full Sense. It's going to be Nemesis right in front of them. Those shots busting out between it means that Twisted Minds now knows that they don't go that direction. Great shots come out from Diffx. Gedrock's going to follow it up on the other side of the circle. Tigger with nowhere to really go has to retreat right back out to the blue.
Stayed. Tries to get some shots to go with the ace. Can't really find the mark, but quickly over
no
to
Los Angeles.
the mini, and I don't know what in the world just happened to Setsuna. Had a grenade in his hand potentially, and a lot of his team went down. Speaking of going down, Belmoth will fall to Diffix. He looks to keep full sense very much in the bottom half of this leaderboard after the end of the day.
And Nemesis should be able to pick this up, but it is going to be Twisted Minds who offer their emergency
nhưng mà nó cho to miếng bom miếng ấy bà họ bom miếng ấy họ bom miếng là nó bán này đi phong phải mũi á khơi miếng nó
feel a lot safer as you only have to deal with Petrichor Road. New circle is now popped, and that means it is going to be AGAL, VP, GK, Myth, Super, R8, and Team Liquid all rotating right near each other, and it's just a stack. Everybody's running in the field. Find you a dip and fight for it.
There's some runovers happening here.
VP
trying to crush VP underneath his tires, looking for more. Solalzi very, very weak, has more coming in. That grenade right next to him. He's gonna go down. Nixie almost falling to that grenade that fell into his own. Solalzi holding on for dear life.
Everybody external has no idea what they're shooting at. They're just shooting into every dip that has a firefight in it. VP gets eliminated, so that does mean AGAL stays alive for now, but it is going to be closely followed as a ton of utility rains down upon them. We ain't done yet as we still have another rotate, and that's going to be Myth passing just to the south.
We're still looking at a couple teams that are outside of the circle that need to make their way in. The Supers on the north, Team Liquid up there as well. Myth over to the east. Park Pro is going to fall here.
GK cho Nan ra GK.
Job done there. Will find the point. Purdy Curdy now wants that spot. He sees the damage.
GK cho Nan ra GK.
Is he going to go for the kill? Is he going to go for the circle? Looks like he's going to wrap back behind.
Anh đang năm game long rồi. Chơi
They just send it right up into his face.
Liquid with GK.
For now, finally having one falter. Akan the last one up, but the cost for Team Liquid has been high.
They might just be able to hold on. Those grenades not going to get there from Akan. The follow-up, though, he knows it. Oh, it's so close to wiping Liquid out.
It's just more cover potentially, though, the longer these nades continue to crash down upon him. But too many angles. Liquid's going to go down. New contenders on approach. Super's running down the hillside. Myth on the other side. Nakan just in the middle of it all.
Oh, Heaven taken out by the combined arms of 4AM, who have themselves 4 nice little dips that they have found inside of the fields right in the center of the circle. DL still kicking there, a couple members of the Supers with him. They're just one other member of the Supers with him this time around. Now things settle. Most teams have found some kind of footing.
Welcome to the fields, where everybody has a bit of a dip, and that's about all they can really work with. BRDM going to be big for Supers, and that's why they're kind of stealing the centered position right now. To the north of them is going to be 4 angry men, a bit more scattered across the fields to work around.
Oh, fuck.
Is going to be about the biggest commodity you've got, unless you're down to the south and Vitality, who has themselves a great compound. Myth, though, they've got a different secret for success. Whenever you can just shoot anything that's going to be in front of you and try to find a kill, they have an open opportunity and a path into a con if they want.
I've seen Kiss dome a couple players with the bolts here in this lobby. He has been good no matter what, and love to see him getting involved. Now Gam, of course, able to seemingly get the res on the duck. Kiss is looking in that direction, but I don't know if there's an angle for him to finish it. Pro has a little bit of space. Oh, that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah, I mean, this is just trying to sneak it in, but it is going to be Supers raining down nade upon nade. What do you do? It's going to be Levante, I think, leading the charge forward, nade, but the BRDM is so strong. You can't really deal with it other than just dropping a couple of nades on top of him. Levante just has to deal with the threat right up in his face and just keep burning utility piece after utility piece for it.
Yeah, Vitality in kind of an awkward spot where they're trying to make their way forward. They want to deal with that BRDM in front of them, but it's really, really tough to when you still have some players and teams behind them.
Nemesis making a rotate, nowhere to really go on the western side, and it's going to be Twisted. It's going to take shots. Petrichor to the north, nowhere to go. They're going to have to be bumping right into Gam. And it is just Myth, slow, steady approach. Walking in is, what do we even have to deal with down here? There is no space. Super flat terrain. Shoot whatever pops in front of you. Demolished on their rotate by Gam.
Oh, I hope we have the replay for that grenade. An absolute banger on the Petrichor Road on their way in. Baron will land one of his own. Shadow Esports eliminated in 10th, but a really nice day for them. 35 points, nothing to sneeze at. A little bit of forward maneuver to gain a little bit of space. And look at this nice little dip
Vitality
that's been created for them.
That's not a little dip. Look at how many explosions
That's true.
happened
It's a
over
big
there.
dip.
That is like you could stand up in that dip and still have cover. That is.
We call it the Big Dipper.
Vitality nó hang on là nên lái nè.
Supers on the other side of that are just continuing to use the BRDM to make sure that Vitality doesn't get too close. See if they can scout out anything else over the west. And Nemesis is just trying to creep their way and get into the circle. Twisted's just going to make their life hellacious moment by moment as it goes. As most of our teams are playing over into the east, it's just GAM up to the north, R8 kind of the northwest, and this is what I was afraid of.
Well, it's
but it has to be on target.
It's absolutely nothing. Nobody's in those trees. The Supers BRDM, by the way, is about to die. It is
they could have just dropped the mortar into a point that they knew had a couple of cover points to play from, so that way they could get there. I wouldn't be surprised because it looks like it came out from GAM. Now, Myth, where do you go? You've got a couple of different opportunities in front of you. It looks like it is going to be the backstab onto Vitality.
Vitality has been trying to deal with the Supers BRDM for a very long time, and I think they finally did, but it's the wrong moment for them. Baron again with the grenades, doing it. 6 kills for him on the board.
9 kills overall for Myth, and it feels like there's more to be had. Circle pops. It goes more to the south, so that's going to be Supers in there, burnt up BRDM pretty much in the center of it. But guess what? To the west of that, it's Twisted. To the north, 4 Angry Men. Everybody else, welcome to the fields. And how does the grass grow? With blood.
Yeah, no doubt. And realizing that they have the Supers pretty well dead to rights here. There you go. It is going to be DL and Human paying the price. Myth on the warpath once again. They have now taken first place in the lobby, up to 66 points, 4 ahead of Twisted Minds. Nemesis has Twisted Minds right in front of them, looking on this western edge, and gonna have to play a little leapfrog there. A couple grenades still in the bag for Diffix. Don't know how much exactly everybody has. Melman has absolutely nothing. He has a Panzer and all in a dream.
Well, I mean, Nemesis has been fighting over on the western front for so long, having to deal with so many squads around them that kept trying to backstab. So I don't blame anybody in coming into the circle without any smokes or anything else like that. GAM had kind of had a compound that they were playing from, and Petrichor road fight a second ago. So perhaps they have something to deal with, as it is just going to be an entrenched Myth and an entrenched Twisted Minds and everybody else walking into the field.
I think if GAM can kind of deal with R8 on this western side, they have a pretty good chance to maybe get pretty far in this game. They should have a lot of utility scooping it up. Road dead body, they should be sitting pretty well. This late game, you know, armor and helmet should be pretty okay. Yeah, Duck Juice did take a headshot. Myth has taken full control of the center of the circle.
Look at this. This is the one little bit of a rise inside of this field, right? Over to the west, there's a bit of another one. But this means that it's kind of high ground, a little bit of a fortification in that and and it's everybody else just something. Twisted Minds good on their defense. Nemesis has no path in. There's still the tree fortifications that GAM is playing from. So, I mean, R8 still kind of stuck over here as well, and you just have to push your way through. It's all just going to be on aim. That's the only way you get into the circle. You gotta get nuts, and you gotta get them out.
Yeah, exactly. It's really important to do some serious damage, and Batulins has 309 damage in this one. Has no kills though to speak for it. Has been hitting some good shots. Example, sitting on some decent utility as well. That ghillie suit. Tanvu is going to take down AJ. 5 kills now for Tanvu. Empty. Trying to blast his way forward, but just isn't a ton to work with.
Still just trying to creep his way forward. He's finding some way to do it. He's inside the circle. But another player for R8 does go down. Duck Juice is going to be the one that finds it. Nemesis is trapped over here due to Twisted, so Coral Empty is just stuck with friends all around him.
I just noticed that Akan was still alive. I just saw that on the screen, but he's going to go down. Nemesis on the edge of the blue. Diffix Melman in trouble. Diffix barely sidesteps that grenade. Stays alive at least for now. GAM is on the hunt. They wiped out R8.
Look at this circle. Pops down to the south. Twisted's got control over the northwest. Myth's got control over the northeast, and Baron is now kind of left the circle, left the safety of the rest of the players with Myth, and he's trying to wrap around back behind 4 Angry Men. GAM and Nemesis all only have really one angle of approach, and it's all on top of each other.
Yeah, GAM now has to ping pong the other way. They've wiped out a couple different teams. Nemesis gone, R8 gone. Twisted Minds has held the line, but they have no kills to speak for it, although they're doing just fine, of course, because it's just the group stage. and they aren't too fussed
about it. Gamma's having a hell
of a game. 12 kills.
Well, I thought Gamma's problem was the fact that they didn't have very many vehicles left, but they managed to keep one. With the C4, how are they going to wrap? The timing means that they're going to have to run this one pretty quick.
What the fuck, bro? Oh, shit. What the... suicide. Đã có bay tung.
Now Twisted, who had control, has just example up, and Gamma's running after it. Myth has realized they're taking more control of the circle, but Angry Man is still left out. Team out.
Oh, and Example's going to finish off Gam. It was a valiant effort with the coordinated C4.
Trời ma ơi, team Gam này lọp man nè.
Example, how did he not get run over there? He hides underneath. HS pays the price.
Oh, the bouncing car in front of him. Example going full beast mode right now. He's the last one up, but he is not done yet.
Tơ bạt tọt. Sim đang chicken dinner bắt đây. Dinner tập buôn nữa. Cút chơi mà, bọn đi banh thiên lọp chơi mà. Giờ đó đam hand mafia team Việt Nam nữa mà. Lop trên kề.
Trying to hold on for dear life, but he is getting absolutely smothered with utility. Able to barely escape that molly. Shen out in the blue, it looks like in a world of trouble. Myth gonna take their third game of the day.
Việt Nam đi lop chơi mà, chỉ làm
waiting for more. They just gotta walk it, makes it look easy. Myth with half.
Anh nhặt Jolie ơi, Việt Nam đi tập bài mấy này. Biết tập bốc team ở Twisted Mind ngày ngộp vô mà. Nào thế em ơi. Hay ai cái xe xuống. Oh my god, bro. Cái tầm miến này anh, xây cái miến này. Ok, ngày nay tôi chỉ miến tập pan đăng này nào thế học miến đi tiếp theo con chào mà đang sậpการตามตัวสนามคนไหนส่งบัตรไลน์มาดังไงคำนั้นยังจุบเตรียมเราเที่ยวในสายจังหวัดสตรีมMLBB หมองบูนโอเคบายบายแต่ก็แค่นี้